Hello, Illumineers, and welcome back to the Lorcana Continental Challenge. My name is Garrick. This is the Lorcana layer, and today we are going sailing with s4iler, who will be representing North America, playing his favorite color combination of ruby sapphire, and of course, will be piloting his patented Sisu on ice deck. He will be going up against one of the most powerful Emerald Amethyst players in the world, one of the best, Artabax, who proved that over the weekend by winning his last chance qualifier pod and then qualifying for Continentals and then not dropping a single match in Swiss the entire time, and he ended up with a 22nd place finish. Really inspirational for thousands of people across the world who will be attending the last chance qualifiers and showing us all how to do it. So congrats to Artabax for that. And I think actually it's double congrats because recently Artabax got married to the lovely Miria. So yeah, congratulations to the happy couple. And with me today on the mic is somebody that I've been wanting to work with for a long time during the Lorcana Cross Continental Challenge here, and that is JDZQuest. JDZ, how are you?
I am so good, Garrick. It's so good to be here in the lair with you, talking about this match, talking about this game, talking about these players. Because between you and me, when this thing first came out, when the LCCCC first dropped, I was like, I want to see these two play. This is the match that I want to see. So this is like a dream scenario for me. And I'm in the booth, live and direct in the lair with you, ready to bring it on home. So let's do it, man. I'm so motivated. I'm so excited representing the great white North.
Yeah,
Taylor's representing Canada.
I love the
Hey,
Canada outfit.
I'm Canadian today, man.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm ready. I'm motivated, and I am absolutely excited and here for this matchup. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm super pumped for this matchup. Let's go ahead and take a look at the player cards here. Let's start with s4iler. Tell us a little bit about the Canadian s4iler and his accomplishments thus far as a member of Team Labyrinth in the Lorcana space.
Well, I mean, if you have been playing this game for more than a day, you obviously know who s4iler is. Granted, they didn't get that DLC win that they would have wanted, but seriously, when you're talking about patented, I used to say patent pending because maybe the patent hasn't been out yet, but we can go and say patented Ruby Sapphire strategy. He literally wrote the book on the strategy. The Sisu on ice variety is one I'm talking about. Had some serious placement finishes, but never that key win in a DLC that I'm sure that they wanted. And they're going to come out running this blue red deck again. Okay, so just looking at the deck and looking at this matchup, typically, and I'm sure you know this, I'm sure you're going to bring this up. This green purple deck has kind of had this Ruby Sapphire deck's number throughout the metagame. But however, in this C2 on ice variety that s4iler is playing, I think you might have a little bit more game. If you can manage to somehow survive the early game, you can then thrive into the late game. As you know, this Ruby Sapphire deck is extremely top heavy. And if you can get to that late point, if you could turn the corner, then you can get, even if your opponent's sitting at 17, 18 sometimes, you can still find a way to close it. And if anyone can somehow manage to balance the scales a little bit in this matchup, it's going to be this s4iler, and it's got the sail the Azurite Sea. You guys know the deck. You guys have seen the deck. If you've been watching, this is round number 4. So I don't want to go card by card. You guys know what's trying to happen, what he's trying to do here. But again, I'm super excited to see what these players are going to do. But talk to me about this Artabax deck. Talk to me about this strategy. Talk to me about green, red, green, blue, excuse me, green, blue, green, purple, amber, amethyst. It's tongue twister. I can't even say it. Oh my goodness. Talk to me about this. Talk to me about this strategy and all the buffs they got. This deck is all over the place. It's destroying my local area. Talking about
Oh
this
yeah.
deck and what Artabax is trying to do.
Yeah, so like I said in the intro, Artabax is one of the greatest Emerald and Amethyst players in the world. People consider him a master of the deck, a progenitor of the deck, if you will. And we have his accomplishments up on the screen. But like I said, I think we can add a Continental competitor, an LCQ champion, and top 22 in the entire
Mm.
continent of Europe, Artabax, and he is bringing his
Patented.
patented,
Yeah, he's patented as well.
I would say certainly patented Emerald Amethyst deck. Now, this deck does a lot of different things. It likes to get on the board and start going pretty quick. It's got a bunch of different one drops to choose from. You have 13 here, I believe, if my math is correct. But what you really want to get down, especially on the play, is something like a Curse Merfolk and then get into Bonsai and then just start gaining a bunch of lore very, very quickly. You can go into the White Rose and then play Genie on 4. And Genie has been the entirely meta warping card of this
Mm.
set. People were, rightfully complaining about Diablo's power in the last two sets, but now we're seeing Amethyst really break out, and all of the top decks in the game currently are playing Amethyst other than Ruby Sapphire, and it's all because of Genie. He's a 4-cost 2/4 with evasive. He quests for 2, and on top of that, you get to draw a card when he comes into play. So just an absolutely beast of a card and something that is going to shape the meta, not only in this set, but in future sets coming forward. So this is a very
Absolutely.
powerful strategy.
And talking about that Genie card, I was checking my TCG player this morning. That card was $35. Okay. $35 for a rare. So that lets you know how impactful that card is. It is completely all over the place. And if you don't have an answer for it, it's that meta defining card right now. So make sure when you're playing, you have an answer to this Genie because you will encounter that card. Also, I think those crabs might be pretty good here. And I think the Fox is obviously going to be pretty well. But oh my goodness, Garrick, I am locked in. I am laser focused and I am ready for some high profile Lorcana action, man. You got to feed it to me. I'm ready.
We are ready, and the players are also ready. So we're going to go ahead and hop into the match here between s4iler, who is representing North America, and Artabax, who is representing Europe. So let's get right into it without any further ado. Here we have the players up on the screen. They're rolling some dice, and s4iler starts off with an 11. Pretty
That's a
strong.
good sign. I think going first, it's going to be a play draw thing. Obviously, as Lorcana is on this level, going first is going to be almost, they say it's almost like a coin toss, but I think going first in this matchup is going to be even more critical because if s4iler can go first, hit those ramps, set up for that late game, and manage to survive, I think that could be the path to victory. If he can brick on this ink, or if he can brick on this ramp, it's going to be pretty much over for s4iler. So let's see how the mulligans go.
Yeah, really interested to see what happens with the altar phase here. I believe that s4iler is going to want to look for those early contested cards that he can get onto the board and try and keep Artabax in check a little bit. And it does look like he has a Tipo, so that's something that can slow down those Curse Merfolk, and especially those Diablos, which don't
Mm.
challenge for anything. They challenge for 0.
What do you think about s4iler's use of the songs? Do you think he holds on to the songs or does he try to just get those things out of here quick too? Do you think Artabax is going to put that Ursula down on 2 or is he going to try to save those for the be prepared turns? These are kind of things that I'm looking out for because I'm not the best player in Lorcana right now, but seeing the top players do their thing is helping me significantly become a better player. So how do you think he's going to handle his song usage in this matchup?
Well, I think it's something that he can definitely consider keeping early on. Those are 4
Mhm.
cards there on the left. I think he's considering keeping because he does have the Tipo on 2. He can sort of ramp into a potential 4-drop that could sing how far I'll go, but you do have a good point about the Ursula. It is something that could be taken away, but I think s4iler knows that Artabax kind of needs to go quick here, and if he plays in
Mhm.
Ursula and misses, it's pretty devastating. So I gotta assume he's gonna think that a bonsai is more likely to come down. So maybe the how far I'll go is gonna feel safer in his hand. But Artabax does get the bonsai and a whole bunch of 1-drops in his hand to start off here.
Yeah, so it looks like Artifact is just going to try to spam the board early, play super aggressively, get down as low as possible, put as many cards on the field, and get them things as horizontal, as expedient as possible, and try to just win before s4iler can set up. s4iler getting into the brawl, another Tipo, so he's trying to ramp heavy. This is going to be a good match, man. I'm so here for it because on this level, Garrick, they're not just playing the game; they're playing against each other and what because they know what the other person is trying to do, and they're not just playing against the deck and the color combination. They're trying to play against what the other person's expectations because they know it's not going to be a lot of misplays happening here at this game. As we're going to go ahead and get the ink in, drop the pop, and pass.
Yep, solid turn one for Sailor, putting visions of the future into the inkwell, not something he necessarily needs this early on in the game. So decides to ink that, puts the popsicle down. We see Artabax throw in the Elsa. Also, something that's not super high value in this matchup, the Fifth Spirit, decides to go for the Clarabelle of all things.
And he does draw into that Ursula. So let's see if he gets that thing down on tour where he just hold it as Tipo is going to ink the Be Prepared. I love that play. Putting that Be Prepared into the ink well is probably not going to be live for a while. And it's just another song for Ursula to rip as we're going to go ahead and throw it back on over to Artabax, who gets into the White Rose. Man,
Yeah,
they're going at it already.
I'm interested to see what Artabax goes for here. He's got to think that potentially Sailor didn't keep songs, or if he found a song, he probably inked it with the Tipo. So Ursula might not be too valuable for Artabax here in this situation, even not knowing what Sailor's hand is. So he could just go for the bonsai, try to go as quickly as possible, but he's considering his ink right now.
But if he does get that Ursuline, he will be greatly rewarded as he'll be able to cut off that how far I go. But he'll just jam the Ursuline to the inkwell and he will lead with your play. So that was a great call from you, getting the bonsai onto the field and just threatening a little bit more lower damage as the little cow will go ahead and get sideways for one.
Yeah, I think this is something that Artabax definitely needs to do. Just get as much lore on the field as possible onto the board. He goes ahead and quests with the Clarabelle here. Pretty safe against the Tipo, who can only challenge for one, barring any Vitalosphere. But here we have the How Far I'll Go being hard cast, and we'll see what he finds off the top.
Okay, so we got the dragon. We got the Grandma Tala, as we'll look like we're thumbing the dragon up to send it to the inkwell. Hold on to the Grandma Tala for a next turn play, perhaps, or maybe not. Maybe he's thinking they can make it to the late game and get some value out of this dragon. But let's see what Salix do, and he will put the dragon down into the inkwell face down and exert it before probably just throwing it back on. Excuse me, probably just tossing it back on over. He's on a quest here. Very cool.
Yeah, pretty safe to quest here. Your Tipo's probably not going to get challenged by Clarabelle or Bonsai. I mean, maybe a
Hmm.
Peter Pan comes down or a Fox comes down, but that's sort of slowing down the tempo that Artabax wants to be at. And if he challenges your Tipo, that means he's not questing. And next turn, we're going to be into 6 ink for Sailor, so we can get that Maui Half Shark down super early, which is going to be
Look at
devastating
that.
if you're Artabax, because that thing can answer a Genie. It is evasive.
For whatever reason. Okay, for whatever reason they made that thing evasive. As Peter Pan, Peter Pan does come down and take out the Tipo,
Yep.
and you'll go ahead and get a quick 3 from the Bonsai and the Clarabelle before tossing back on over to Sailor, who is going to get into another How Far I'll Go. It might be Maui time, perhaps. I think it is. Probably get some more bodies onto the field and just start challenging down this board. But let's see what Sailor elects to do.
Yeah, Maui looks pretty good here. You don't necessarily want to brawl anything on the board at this time. You want to save that for Genies. Could go for the Tala. I think he's considering an ink here. Yeah, it looks like we're just going to jam the Maui Half Shark.
Oh, he's out. Look at that card. What an insane design for a card. That's 7. Every time I see that 7 and the evasive, it just cracks me up. I don't know why I think that's so funny. Because how are you so big but you can fly? That's or be so nimble and huge. Kind of oxymoronic, I would say. As we're kicking it back on over to Artabax, who is thinking about the play here. What do you do now in the face of this half shark? Because that can just get aggressive. He can take down your guys and he can start getting more actions back and start, chipping away at the lore count this way. What do you do now?
I think potentially if you're Artabax, maybe you like ink the White Rose here, play 3 1-drops, and then next turn put down your Clarabelle, draw a bunch of cards. That way you have a
Oh, that is
big
so
body
good.
onto the
Yeah.
board, and you've also flooded the board. He does need to be wary of something like Sisu, which could come down and crash the party with a bunch of little 1-drops on the board. So that's definitely something he needs to be aware of. But Sailor will be at 7 next turn, and with nothing on the board to put an extra ink in, probably not something he needs to worry about immediately. But empty your hand, get the big Clarabelle down next turn, and draw a bunch of cards is probably the way you want to stay in this game if you're Artabax.
Are you fearful of a be prepared right now? Are you trying to are you all in on this play? Be prepared. You're not caring too much about that.
I think it's one of those situations where it's like not much you can do about it if he has
Yeah.
it. Like you kind of just get blown out if that's the case. But yeah, I feel like this is something you just have to go for. It's your win condition, and Artabax is sort of playing to win here, not necessarily playing not to lose, which I really like. We've seen a bunch of great players go with that strategy of playing not to lose, and when they would have played to win, they maybe could have gotten across the finish line. So Artabax just hoping there's no be prepared and going all in here.
I love it. I love it. I think that's a huge benefit of some of these pro players as they're called. Some of these players who can know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to jam it all on the play. And maybe I don't know if he had some I don't know if there's anything in the discard that kind of helped him make that decision a little bit either, but we're not going to quest at all. All of his guys are standing up and then we'll Maui Half Shark Sing, ping one damage and then get a little bit of ramp and a little bit of draw as well.
Yeah, that Maui Half Shark. I mean, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, not the best singer in the world. You didn't hear it here first, but he decides to sing How Far I'll Go. And he finds a Vitalosphere and a Popsicle. It'd be interesting to see what he elects to ink and what he elects to get rid of.
I
Or sorry, How
think
Far I'll Go. Does that put that in your hand? I'm not a blue
yeah,
player.
one in hand, one in inkwell, face down exerted.
Okay.
So we'll see. We'll see. And I'm in love with Sailor's proxies there. That's the 10 out of 10 proxy. That's how you proxy effectively. Okay. Everyone at home, if you're turning cards around backwards or you just change the stats on some card, oh, this is now Tinkerbell or whatever. That's not how you proxy. This is how you proxy. Took the time to put some artwork together and get that thing up there. 10 out of 10 should win for that proxy. So he's thinking long and hard as we'll go ahead and put the item into the inkwell face down and exert it and keeping the popsicle in hand. Vitalosphere.
Yeah, Vitalosphere could have been pretty good with the second Maui in your hand. You can play the
Hmm.
Vitalosphere and then use it to crash in with Maui immediately, but not super valuing that because he already has a Maui sort of established onto the board. But with no Be Prepared coming down, Artabax has to be feeling a lot better than he was before, that's for certain. We're just going to go ahead and put the next Maui down, though. So go ahead and deal with double Maui if you can,
And
Artabax.
look at that. So now that brawl is actually pinging for two, which is kind of funny. As you're getting some value out of the brawl's action itself, its effect itself, and also a little bit of uh, residual lore. I think that's a good little ROI. As this Clarabelle is looking a little bit weaker now, so you went all in on the play. Clarabelle's not able to get that value, as I believe Sailor might have saw that coming and let him keep that hand a little bit small. As we're going to go ahead and think here. Artifacts, two cards in hand. We're thumbing up. It looks like, well, I can't see what's in the hand right now.
He's got a Merlin Rabbit and a Clarabelle. He's got
And
a White Rose into the
White Rose.
Inkwell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Here you just
Very
have to
interesting.
shift the
Yeah.
Clarabelle. Yeah. I mean, Clarabelle needs to be removed. If there's no dragon, she trades with the Maui, which is pretty good. He
And we're
elects
just
not
going
to
to
quest. Yep.
Okay, so this is the patience that is required, I think, as you're navigating these double Maui sharks, just trying to build a tremendous board before you just get them all horizontal. So maybe Artifact has the path to victory, but I still think that be prepared is just so troubling. But if you do play it, that's your whole turn, and you only have two cards in your hand as well. And maybe that's what Artifacts wants. That's just going to ice block here.
He's
Uh,
probably ice blocking the Bonsai to brawl it. Does elect to do that. And let's keep in mind he has a Let It Go in his hand, so anytime he wants to remove that Clarabelle, it's gone.
and he's singing it too. So he's got all the hits. Let it go. Let Dwayne the Rock Johnson singing How Far I Go and Let It Go. It's kind of insane. That's pretty cool though. And then we'll just go ahead and quest up the Maui for one. Look at that, dude. Oh man, this is such a great game. Such a great match. Oh, it's so good. As we get the Clarabelle down, you do get a double ramp out of the situation, but still the cards are dwindling. And if you can manage to break this board from Sailor, if you are Artabax, somehow, some way, get both of these Maui Sharks into the discard, you're going to be kind of cruising. As you got that crab who might be able to do something. No, they're evasive. Peter Pan can touch them, but that's it. As we're getting the rabbit to get into the white rose.
Yeah, the Peter Pan can trade with one of the Mauis, with the crab on board, which is what Artabax this elects to do. If Artabax is able to find something like an Elsa, he can also get rid of the other Maui, but that was crucial for him, especially considering that Sailor currently has nothing in his hand. So right now, things were looking a little tricky for Artabax, but honestly, not in a terrible position, able to get that Merlin crab which was able to trade effectively with the Maui Half Shark. But it's very cool to see the Maui Half Sharks sort of pop off here and gain a decent bit of lore.
For sure, for sure. We're getting to that danger zone now, but you still got some super live top decks. I think a Harem coming here would be okay. Artabax still is only sitting at 4, which is a nice safe zone. When they start getting at 12 to 14, that's when you really need to start cringing and start worrying about the Go-Go, which is another phenomenal card. I think it's actually pretty decent this matchup. We can see a Go-Go versus
I
Tamatoa
think we
situation go
have a
down.
Tamatoa here.
Oh,
Comes up
he's out.
upside down, but we get him right side up. Sailor sort of
Oh.
telegraphed that by looking at his discard to put a popsicle at the top.
But you really have to be super careful with questing this Tamatoa with this dang Go-Go. I got rocked by a Go-Go so bad. They were like at 11, jumped all the way up to 20 on me,
Mm-hmm.
featuring Go-Go and a little bit of the green purple situation. Man, it's a mess. But we'll see. That eight is a lot these days. So you got to be careful putting that bad boy horizontal.
Yeah, definitely something you need to be aware of with the Go-Go's on the side of Artabax. But Tamatoa gonna be questing for 5 next turn if this popsicle comes down. We see a Merlin Goat come onto the board, gaining a lore. Artabax knows that the Be Prepared has not come down yet. He knows that a popsicle is in the hand, so just trying to get more bodies onto the field and quest as aggressively as he possibly can to try and sneak one out here. Such a light
Yeah,
hand from Sailor.
is going for it now. So I think Sailor actually might be all in too on this play. Get to a lucky dime here, and I don't even know if you can play it. You won't have enough ink to play it, as Popsicle will be revealed into another How Far I'll Go. So you can sing that ping one and then brawl something. You might have to start challenging here, actually. I don't think you have any momentum left to be singing. You got to start cracking back as this board is getting quite aggressive over here from Artabax's position.
Yeah, Maui can challenge and remove something, also return an action back to your hand, which is super useful. So effectively can remove 2 threats here on this turn, potentially 3 with the additional brawl in Sailor's hand. So it's going to be a pretty fantastic turn for Sailor, especially with all those popsicles out. He can just heal his Maui up. Doesn't have to worry about the Go-Go
Mhm.
necessarily.
So do you want to start fighting here, or do you what do you do now? If you're no Artabax, if he's on the play, I think it just keeps questing. But if you're Sailor, are you questing or are you fighting right now?
Right now, there's 5, 6, 7 lore on the board. If everything quests plus Goat is going to gain 1 lore. So Arbax is effectively at 11 at this point, plus the 5 that's on board. So that's a pretty hefty amount. I don't think you want to let him quest out next turn. So I think if you're a Sailor, you start getting rid of things on the board. You can do it very effectively with
Mm-hmm.
Maui and the brawls that you have. And Maui gains lore for all the actions that you're casting. So it's not like you're doing it and wasting tempo
Wasting time,
necessarily.
right?
Yeah.
I like that. So it looks like we are setting this Maui up, the nice caricature Maui. I think I prefer that artwork more than the one that we actually got. I'm not going to lie, as we're going to send that thing on a challenge and we'll get back a second brawl, just like you said. So we got the ability to take out 2 more of those characters, not the ones you want, as the Rabbit and the Diablo will be able to get some more draws, but still, it'll clear them off the board. Like able to ice block the crab. I missed it. Look at that. See, I'm so bad. Oh my goodness. Ice block the crab, get him off the board, and let's see who he's going to choose to hit with the other if he lets do so at all.
Yeah, one more brawl. Maybe you want to go for the rabbit to prevent some bouncing. The Diablo's not too threatening, I don't think. They both draw cards, so I think the rabbit was the right choice. Gets Ursula off the top, which is not it's not really what you want to see right now if you're Artabax. Because you can
He
play it
doesn't have enough ink.
down.
He doesn't have enough ink to play this song, but he will get some. If he doesn't do anything with how far I'll go, he will get the opportunity to snatch it with Ursula
I mean, he
if he
can
felt so
sing it
inclined.
if he wants to with Tamatoa, but again, Go-Go's something you have to think about. Merlin could crash in for 4. Go-Go gains 4, plus the 1 from
Ooh.
the goat, so that's 5, and then questing for 2 would put Artabax at 17. So probably don't want to put your Tamatoa sideways right now.
I'm telling you right now, Garrett, GoGo has made this game so much better. I think a lot of people don't agree with me, but just that added layer of that added thing that you have to keep
It's
in the back of
so
your mind that you have
scary.
to kind of play around. It is such a good element for this game that we were kind of lacking in Lorcana because people just do whatever all willy nilly. But now, no, you have to think about it. And that 8 is a hazard now. Basically, it's tough, high willpower characters are now going to be super susceptible to a go-go. That 8 can just absolutely end the game. You can even quest both. You can challenge the go and the rose, do 7, and then just hit them for 7 real quick,
Yep.
and that's just a nightmare. You can't risk that. So you can tell that's what Sailor's pondering as he's stroking the beautiful, magnificent Canadian beard right there. Oh,
Yeah, I mean, if you crash both of those in, that's 7, 8 plus the Diablo quest for 1, so that's 9. You're 1 off.
good
That's
grief.
definitely something you don't want to do if you're
Oh man,
Sailor,
oh
but
man.
Sailor's still considering all of his options, probably thinking the same thing we're thinking right
Oh,
now.
100% Gogo is on the frontal lobe of the right corner sides or right player's mind for sure. I can tell you exactly what this player is thinking about. He's thinking about Gogo. He's thinking about what his top deck is going to be, and he's thinking about putting this song down to play around Ursula too. I think those are the three things.
Yeah, could also quest, could challenge into the Diablo. If he challenges into the Diablo, I think that removes any opportunity for Gogo to end the game because next turn you could technically crash both an Automatoa, play Gogo, play Goat or White Rose and win. But if
Mm-hmm.
Diablo's off the board, that's not a possibility. Um, but yeah, this is a really tough turn for Sailor. He needs to decide what he wants to do and what's going to be the best course of action because this game, any mistake and it could swing the complete wrong direction if you're Sailor.
100%. I'm not even playing it. My hands are sweating. That's why I'm not cut from these guys' claw. I'm not even in the game, and my hands are literally sweating because I'm like, okay, what do I do? How do I? What if he just does nothing, which is just you get bluffed completely off the spot and just don't do anything with Tomato and just leave him up. As we're going to, it looks like we're going to set up for. Man, he's thinking. I think we might be setting up for. He's going through it all, man. He's going through the ringer
Yeah, are
to
there
be
any
able to set
items I can get? What's the benefit of doing this? I can set up a win for next turn if he doesn't have the go-go and I quest here. So he's
He goes for the quest.
questing, he's risking it. So a go-go plus a rose or a goat would be game if I'm doing
He's got the courage
doing
to
the
not
math
go.
right, but he does not get the go-go and didn't have a rose regardless, but Sailor takes the risk.
And is paid out in full because you don't have enough power to take down this Tamatoa. You got no crab. You have no. You only hit for 7, and that Diablo shows why it's not the best card again because that 0 comes up again. That's another instance where that 0 in the toughness comes up because if you had enough, you could at least take down the Tamatoa and give yourself another crack at it. But it looks like you still could. I guess you could challenge
Yep,
and then get another
challenge to
card.
draw a fox. That's enough
There
to
we
get
go.
rid of it.
There it is. Never mind. Forget everything I said again. That's number. Forget I said anything. But we get to the fox, so that should be enough to take down the Tamatoa. But you're still not going to be out of the woods yet, as you still have this half shark to deal with that you cannot touch with evasiveness. And we won't. We'll just use the Ursula to rip the how far I'll go. Okay,
Yeah,
thanks for
Ursula
giving
can
that
take
information.
how far I'll go, and he can always bounce the Ursula back if that's the target he wants to go for. Might
Mm-hmm.
want to go for the Rose to gain an additional lore later on, because you have to crash with Goat, you have to crash with
Yeah. No.
Fox.
Oh, yeah, for sure, for sure. That's a great play. I like your play a lot better actually. Take the Fox and Goat and keep Fox and Goat and keep the White Rose. I think that's really cool. And then you come in for some more turn. If he can survive, man, it's not looking completely lost. This half shark is still just sitting there looming, but it's not completely over. As half shark's kind of slow. You don't have a lot of actions, and you won't have anyone that you can challenge this next turn since his Earth is going to be ready. So it's looking pretty. We still got a game. We still got a game as both of these players are absolutely showing why they are in the positions that they're in as two of the best players we have in this entire game. as Artabax is going to somehow manage to survive that sticky situation, and Sailor is going to continue to ponder.
Yeah, that fox was exactly what he needed to get off the top, and now he can put a bonsai down. He's got no exerted characters, so the Maui can't challenge and get back a brawl to just keep cycling that kind of stuff. So here we are again. We've got 4 lore threatening for Artabax next turn at minimum if he quests with these 2 and plays down the White Rose, but then you got to think about the crackback from Maui. So these are really, really, really tough turns for both players. Luckily for Artabax, he was able to get the out that he needed. And now it's back to Sailor, who's in another precarious situation.
As he's able to just quest, hanging on to that Maui, it would have been nice for him to get into an action that turn. I think if he'd have got an action there, he could have kind of, got a little bit of incremental more lore there, put him at 17. 17 would have been a pretty decent number as Lucky Dime is still available. I believe there's one in the deck, and perhaps that could also start to be another way to win here as we're going to get into another Diablo. So maybe just flood again and say be prepared isn't real to
Yeah,
try to win the game on your next turn.
yeah, that's definitely a possibility for sure. Maui would be taken out by Be Prepared anyway with the collateral damage, but Artabax says, all right, I'm going to put everything I have onto the board, and I'm threatening a lethal next turn, so good luck, Sailor. You need to find something to remove one of my characters, or it's game over. Sailor finds something, Hiram, so he can look for 2 extra outs, and he doesn't find them.
He doesn't get there. He does not get there. And it's really not a lot you can do with those characters being readied. There's not anything that you can do to engage with ready characters with those cards you have in hand and see so you don't have enough ink to play it. And it's looking like we're going to be going to a game number 2 as this game might come to a screeching halt as we're going to quest for 1. Bring you up to 17. Do you get another turn? No. How much is that over there? That's 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
that's
enough.
GG's on the other side of the board. That's tough. That's tough. That's tough. As I would just pass there and we'll just quest out for a GG1 as we'll go ahead and pack it up for a game number 2. It looks like it's Artabax that's going to take the dub on the draw. Very interesting
Absolutely
indeed.
insane game. The highest
Wow.
level gameplay that you're going to see. And I've been saying it since round number 1. These are the best players in the world playing the best Lorcana you'll ever see. Sailor shaking his head. Unfortunately, couldn't find any of the removal in his deck to bring him back in this match, but Artabax played it just as well as you could. Again, playing to win. Be prepared isn't real. Sisu
And I
doesn't exist. I
And I
win.
guess you have to run the numbers. You have to run the numbers. Sailor Artabax does know these lists, and Sailor is only playing the 2 copies to be prepared. So he that was a part of the scenario. Once he played that Ursula, he saw the hand, he saw he didn't have it. He's like, you gotta draw it. You gotta draw it right now. And to your point, I gotta say, this LCCC has been such a blessing to the Lorcana community. Shout out to everyone who had a hand in putting this thing on because there's not a lot of opportunities to see these players play. And a player like Sailor and a player like Artabax may never play against each other because of where they're located geographically. Okay, unless they're playing on the
Mm-hmm.
world stage, they probably will never play. So this is such a great exhibition to allow players of this caliber all over the world to come together and play at the highest possible level. So players like me and newer players to this game could come in and see this information, and then you can learn. Because one thing I don't like about Lorcana, there is a kind of a chokehold on information at the highest level, and it rarely disseminates. And I know that's a good thing for the top players, but it's going to make your game weaker over time as players aren't going to be getting as good as they possibly could fast enough. What do you think about that? What do you think about the strangulation of information? Do you think that's a thing or not?
I think that the top players are doing their best to get that information out as well as possible. Now there are internal testing teams. You're never going to get around that. These top players want to do their best and they want to bring the deck that will give them the highest chance of performing well. And giving out that information for free isn't necessarily the best way to do that. But there are a ton of top players like Artabax, like Sailor, like No I'm Not. and others that have great guides out there that you can go
Hmm.
out and buy and learn as much as you can. I think that is a symptom of not being able to make content as freely as the community would necessarily like to, but Pixelborn Connect is a great way to sort of mitigate that. Wonderland streams almost daily. He's a DLC winner. He's one of the best players in the world. You can watch his stream every single day to get as much information as you want. It's just hard without, we'll put it out there, the boogeyman word, a digital client, right? It's tough without
Hmm.
that, but I think the top level players are doing their best to help the community as much as they possibly can.
Absolutely. And I do encourage everyone, if you have any liquid income, if you're really dedicated to the game, to go out and support these players and buy their guides and things of that sort if you're interested in becoming a competitive player. But it looks like we're back and we got some more alter phase interaction going down as we got that Pirate's Life coming in for the right corner player who's going to be leading us off on the play again. Don't want to lose twice on the play. Don't want to lose twice at all. But you definitely want to go ahead and take one of these things down and force a game number three.
Yeah, Sailor with a quick alter there. Decides to keep a brawl, a sail, and a popsicle. Pretty good 1, 2, 3, not terrible. Artabax going for his altar and finds a bonsai, which is pretty huge. So he has his 1 drop, his 2 drop, his 3 drop. He's
Mhm.
set up for pretty good success here. It's going to be a very different game from what we saw last time, I think, because of the way that Artabax's hand was sculpted in the altar phase of the beginning of the last game. He had so many 1 drops, he sort of had to flood the board and go with the big Clarabelle play. While Sailor was able to answer that, he also has a different setup here where he doesn't have the Tipo. Instead, he has the sail, so he's going to have to dump some more cards out of his hand to get that acceleration. But with
Mhm.
Maui, 2 brawls, he's not in a terrible situation, and he can always play how far I'll go to look for some additional cards. Of course, Ink's the hideaway, doesn't need that in this situation. Plays a popsicle, gets an extra card.
And to your point, that last round in round number one, if you give another green purple player those exact same cards and play the exact same way with the exact same draws, I guarantee you that they would lose that
Most of
round.
them are
I
losing. Yep.
guarantee you they're losing because I know if I had those cards, I'm losing because I'm not questing right. I'm not putting the cards down in the correct order. I'm fearful of be prepared. I'm holding my stuff back and I'm losing the game. Whereas you can tell there's a significant skill expression in this matchup, in this deck, in this color combination. It's not just slam and go. There
Mm-hmm.
is some finesse. As we're going to get the Vitalosphere into the inkwell, we'll go ahead and sail, sail. I can't do it. I'm
Fail.
singing voice enough. There it is. There it is.
Shout out to RMB
Sailing.
for
There it
the
is.
sale. Um, yeah, that was a good play. That was a good draw as well on Sailor's side of the board. But yeah, Artabax just showing that he is one of the best players in the world with that gameplay from the last game. Things did have to go his way a decent bit,
Mm-hmm.
but like you said, most players are losing in that spot. Back over to Sailor. Artabax elects to put 2 1 drops down, threatening more lore than just the single bonsai would, because the Cursed Merfolk do quest for 2. So here, Sailor's got a couple options. He can go with the Grandma, which he decides to go for.
Yeah, Grandma Tala. I think ramping to Grandma Tala and instead of the Hiram, I think was really cool. That's something I have noticed that Sailor does specifically. He does favor the Grandma Tala over the Hiram most of the time because that ability to fight back. I believe I didn't ask them that, but having the option, seeing Hiram and Grandma Tala as a choice, going with Grandma Tala, I think is something to set up the how far I'll go the next turn. As we're going to get into the infamous Go Go, who is going to be added to the hand of Artifacts.
Yep, Gogo Tamago shows up, and we are on Artabax's turn 3 here. He has the option for the White Rose. That's going to be the most effective use of his ink, but he wants to dig a little deeper here and finds the Ursula Sea Witch Queen, the grand villain of set number 4. We did
I like the
recently
team.
see the Jafar, Reign of Jafar, get teased, so he's going to be the next big bad.
And it gets announced. I think that's cool. I like the whole momentum. They're releasing a little bit at a time. They
Yep.
showed, some cool things that are coming out. I'm excited to see that new Jafar. Maybe get a better card. They're kind of always shafting Jafar, I think. No pun intended. But it's gonna be what it is. As now we have Sailor who's gonna be on their approach. Maybe we'll get some popsicle action going down, get another card. Still not going into this Hiram, getting into the ice block. Maybe we'll get grandma to go ahead and open the pipes up and seeing this how far I'll go, perhaps. Or maybe we'll send a challenge into this cursed merfolk. So many options, man. So much stuff to do and think about.
Yep, yep. And Sailor being the expert Ruby Sapphire player, I'm sure he is thinking out all the possible lines, the potential things that Artabax could have that could punish him. Right now, again, like you said, he could play the Hiram, draw a couple more cards, but he has some decent answers in his hand, and Hiram can always be used later when you need to draw some additional cards. He has 6 in his hand right now with some decent options, so he doesn't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily have to go for it. I think ramping up a little bit more to that Sisu feels pretty nice, but again, I'm not a Ruby Sapphire player. I ink
And
once per
so much,
turn.
so many things to think about, man. And that's a lot of people. I'm telling you, Garrick, a lot of people, oh, I didn't get this card, I didn't get that card, I didn't do this, I didn't have that. A lot of excuses, but there are so many decisions that have to be made that are just game defying critical decisions at pivotal moments. And you can see Sailor with the patent pending double hand on phase. I love this. I love the cams. I wish all the players could have their face cam in because I love seeing the stress. Because it's not just me, I'm not the only one stressed out when I'm playing. There's so much to think about, and this turn right here, I think is it might just seem like a throwaway turn, but it is absolutely vital, and it might determine the outcome of this game. As we'll go ahead and lean on the Hiram. We will play the Hiram to get two now, as another ice block and brawl are added to the hand. Holy, let's go.
Yep, and I think you're going to have to challenge here with the Grandma. Seems like the best thing. You're
Mm-hmm.
not really worried about Go-Go at this point. I mean, what's Clarabelle's going to gain 1 off the Go-Go? Not really something you need to worry about at this point, so pretty safe challenge, and he can pitch something in his hand. Looks like he's going for the Ice Block. Has plenty of other items in his
But
hand.
you know who does have to worry about that Go-Go? That Hiram when he gets horizontal.
Yep.
That Go-Go is feasting, and it's in hand too. Go-Go is in hand, and that thing can give you a 5 real quick. So that's in some, and it'll give you 5 for free pretty much too, because a Hiram only hitting back for 1. You can send your whole arsenal into Hiram and then
Mm-hmm.
drop a 5 piece on him, and that feels miserable. So we'll see how that goes and how Sailor likes to navigate that obstacle. As we're going to be on the approach with, I believe we're on Artabax's turn,
Yep.
and now Artabax is kind of pondering a little bit on what to kind of put in as Ursula's going to drop down.
Yep.
Did he hit? Yeah, we hit too.
He did punish for not singing on the
Mm.
last turn, but doesn't get to be prepared. Artabax knows that that could be coming soon, and it's something that he wants to keep a lookout for, most definitely. But it's really interesting seeing Sailor try to circumnavigate all the potential threats that Artabax could have as we see him ink a go-go here. This Emerald
Mm-hmm.
Amethyst deck has just gotten so much more powerful over the past 2 sets. It's absolutely insane everything you have to keep track of and keep in mind throughout your entire match. You got to think about Clarabelle's shifting. You got to think about Go-Go's coming down, goats, genies, foxes, rabbits. Like, it's so much that could come down. Uh, no wonder Sailor is taking his time and thinking through these turns. There's so many things Artabax could have.
Oh man, and you're right. Even in set 5, the deck was always good. It was always a good deck,
Yep.
but it kind of got bullied by the steel stuff. It kind of got bullied around by some of the other strategies in the format. But now in set 6, it just got a super injection, and it is absolutely buff. As you noticed in those previous rounds, Artabax has defeated. Let's talk about who he beat. He's beaten Dale Bolito, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and Zan in back-to-back rounds. Okay, that has probably never happened. Those two players losing back-to-back to the same person. So that clearly this deck is on some S tier type beats right now, and it's quite strong, and it's absolutely something to be forced. But as you stated, it's not just a push and go kind of thing. It takes a finesse and it takes some thoughts and understanding your position and what cards in your hand and what your opponent's doing, and not just banging the drum on the tempo, but being a little finesse. As we're going to go ahead and send the brawl into the baby Clarabelle to kind of break up that shift line. I like that play. What do you think about that play?
Yeah, always got to be cognizant of the potential shift for the Clarabelle. Not only does she draw a bunch of cards for your opponent, but she also quests for 2 and is a big body that you can't really contest right now. Sailor going up on the ink, now getting into his bigger turns. He's still 2 turns away from this Sisu, and she's only hitting 1 character currently. But the Genie comes in hand, that infamous Genie Wish Fulfilled, that is one of the strongest cards, potentially the strongest card in the current set, and definitely, I think, the strongest rare in the game. You can debate me on that, but it's a
Absolutely. Oh
great
man,
card.
there's
In the
you
rare
won't
slot,
get a debate out of me, and it's so funny. It's so funny you mention that is because when this card first dropped and the speculation round was happening, people like, oh, when the spoilers came out, like, oh, I don't think this card is very good. I don't think people are going to play it. Wrong, dude. They're like, oh, it's rabbit, but it's a worse rabbit. I'll just play rabbit. I'm not playing this thing. Wrong. Okay, you were
yep,
wrong.
wrong.
Admit that you were wrong, and then move. Let's move on. But he does play the Genie, and if you can get that Sisu down with the ice block, you can clear this board and you can absolutely turn the tides back around. So this is looking not the worst for s4iler as we're getting guys sideways now for a 3, moving Artabax up to that 9. Anything over 12, I think that's when you have to start worrying.
Yeah, definitely. The Genie, again, providing that constant threat, but the Brawl in hand will probably take care of the Genie on the next turn unless s4iler finds a better out. In my opinion, I think this should have been the legendary Genie and the other one should have been the rare, but what do I know?
I'm honestly, I'm glad Ravensburger threw us a bone though. It
Yeah,
seems because they could have done that
that'd
and
be
then kind
a
of
that'd
blocked
be a
us with nothing.
$60 card right now.
It'd be so expensive. It'd be so expensive. So don't say that too many times because I don't want them to start doing that like other trading card games. They'll make the best cards, the rarest cards, and harder to get. But keeping that Genie at a nice little rare, it's still $35. But it's good
I'm gonna
enough.
be
We're jamming.
trading Maui Half Sharks for Genie foils here in a minute.
I I literally just made that trade. I promise you, I
That's
made that
value.
exact trade.
That's value.
And the saddest part is, I probably lost out on the deal. I probably lost out on the deal. As now we're gonna see. So we got Tipo into the inkwell. We got the half shark down, and this is looking kind of good for s4iler. I don't hate this position at all because this big Sisu is winding up. You got this ice block that is winding up, and you're going to be able to do a dramatic board clear right here. And
hmm
I don't know if Artabax is going to be able to bounce back from that. Bounce Artabax from that.
Yeah.
Hey yo.
Artabax got the bounce package in his deck, but we'll see if he can bounce back from this next turn that Sisu is absolutely going to obliterate this entire side of the board. Luckily for Artabax, though, he's at a pretty solid lore total here. He's about to gain 5 and go to 14. And now you're looking like goat, bounce, goat range. We're getting into that
Oh yeah.
range, plus the go-go's. So Rabbit's going to also draw an additional card once this board gets evaporated. So s4iler is definitely not out of the woods here, but he needs to get the Sisu down, clear the board. I don't know, get the lucky dime down and start gaining some lore or getting some lore off this Maui and recurring brawls. He's got to get this lore total up and get it up quickly.
And he does have the dime, he does have the Tamatoa, he does have the Sisu, but to your point, can he survive? Okay, this is we're in survival mode now for both
Mm-hmm.
players. This is such an incredible match. Oh my goodness, it's such a good game because we are truly, truly, truly in survival mode as we are going to get a little quest going. Thinking of jamming the Ursula sideways as well, and maybe you're not trying to get feasted on by the half shark, but half shark's going to hit somebody, and we will go ahead and put the Ursula. No, we won't. We won't. We will.
We will, we won't, we
And we
will.
will.
He does.
And he and he does. As Ursula is going to quest, bring it up to 14. All right. So you do have that one goat is in hand. Now we're drawn. So here's another Sisu. So,
Oh,
oh, get back in.
lost the
Get
game
us
for a
back in.
second. I'm sure we can handle this here. Let's switch the screen here. They're going to get us right back into the game. Don't worry. We're reconnecting right now. You're not missing anything. Just kidding. They were playing still. All right.
So it looks like we got a half shark just goes into the Ursula, gets back to how far I'll go, and then we have
Yeah.
Aram sings to how far I'll go. So that's 2 lore gain there. And now we will have a little bit more ink, and it looks like we have enough to go ahead. You got a Sisu here, as we'll jam the brawl into the inkwell, probably ice block the bonsai. He already knows it's coming. He can feel it coming. Yeah, we're just going to stack up our cards and
He knows.
get him on.
Yep. There
There
she
he is.
is. The big Sisu, the beautiful enchanted, probably my favorite enchanted from the set 4. That was pretty divisive designs on those cards from the enchanteds,
Hmm.
as was the most recent set, but I absolutely love them. They're beautiful. The black background helps the character really stand out. Now Artabax is on the reset, finds a go-go, which is pretty
Oh,
big. He needs that
that's
instant lore
scary.
gain. He's got the
That's
Merlin goat.
terrifying.
He needs to get his
Oh,
ink
that's terrifying.
his ink up a
That
little
that
bit more
that
though.
that Go-Go might be able to do it because he can send the goat out, but he might not quest the harem again. I'll be interested to see if he quests that harem again because he can slam the goat now,
If he
and
sees
then
the
maybe next
goat, I
turn
don't think he's questing anything that's over
ever again.
over 4 strength. Like next turn you can get the lucky dime down, right? You can use it on your
Yeah,
Sisu. That's gonna get you 6 lore right there in and of itself, plus Maui quest. That's gonna be 7. You can set yourself up for some potential game-winning turns. You get the Tamatoa down the turn after that. As long as you can keep Artabax from getting over the 20 or the 19 lore threshold to 20, you've got a solid game plan for Sailor to sort of set up a win here with the dime.
and he does have another action. He has that Vision of the Future as well, so he
Mm-hmm.
can dig, get a lore there too. He does have the Tamatoa in hand. He can get back another item, dig a little bit there as well. So this is going to be a photo finish again. What a
Yeah.
great matchup! I can't say enough at how these thing is pairing up because both decks are kind of demonstrating why they are so good, and both decks are able to do their thing. This is a perfect representation of each. So it's going to come down to who is going to make the right play, who's going to draw the better cards. We get to another goat.
Oh,
So that's 2 goats. I'm terrified, man. I'm freaking out. I'm losing it because those goats are inevitable as we're going to send the rabbit for another goat. But you might have to put some more ink down though. So he's trying to favor this crap. He's favoring all these cards in hand. He doesn't want to put any of those into the ink well, but he might have to ink a little bit as it might be thumbing the go-go. I don't know.
Crab not giving you a whole bunch here, so I think that's pretty safe.
Mm.
Like I was saying, definitely wants to get the ink up. That way he can do these potential game breaking plays later on, like double goat or goat into go go. You want to be able to do that in one turn and sort of finish the game in one move. So smart to get rid of the crab there.
And we're looking like we're setting aside 2, probably about to get some visions going down, taking a little deep dive into the deck. What exactly do you think Sailor's looking for at this critical moment? Is it are we all in on be prepared? What are we looking for here with this vision?
Well, you have Sisu, so I don't know if you necessarily need that. Maybe just looking for additional options. I mean, it never hurts to have a be prepared, certainly, but you can go for like, yeah, Dragon's a good choice. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
even if you wanted to, you go for another Visions game just to,
Just keep burning it down. You're kind of far away, only sitting at 4,
yeah.
but every little piece counts. When you got that big crab sitting in your hand and you got the lucky dime sitting in your hand, every little piece matters. So being able to get those things going, I think is priority number 1. Is we're going to go for another Sisu. Just put the rabbit into the ink well. We'll get a quick draw and you get into the Elsa. Oh no. Oh no. Not like this. Oh man, it's happening. No, no, it's not happening. We're good. We're chilling as you don't have enough ink to do it. But I'm terrified. A freaking fox or something.
if he
What are we
had
talking about, dude?
if he had the crab now, that would actually be pretty good. Because right, you can set up your go-go with
Mm-hmm.
the Elsa crab combo, do 5 into the Hiram, but ink the
It's so
crab.
scary.
But I thought, it was good at the time with the cards that Artabax had in his hand. But with the Elsa,
Right.
it makes it a little tougher, especially seeing the Flaversham turn
But to your point,
sideways.
he had to put something in the inkwell. He had to grow that ink a little bit, and he had to prepare for the follow-on turns. And that was the worst. That was the worst card of the cards he had. So I totally agree with the play. And we do have this Ursula. Ursula's looking very inkable as well. I don't know because I think if you can get to 8, if you get to 8 on the ink, but you got to watch out though because you're kind of losing the momentum as well. As we got a lot of lore coming in that
Hmm.
next turn. So this is quite dangerous. As if you are already at 8, you'd be kind of chilling, but you just don't have it.
Yeah, Artabax is probably wishing he had that crab right about now. Next turn, are we looking at game? We've got 6, 7, 8 on board. So that'll get you to 17 plus dime is game.
Yeah,
So
for sure. So,
it's
yeah, I
over,
think so.
right?
Yeah, it's
There's
over. Yeah, it's
there's
nothing you can
nothing
do.
that he can do to get him out of the situation. If like again, if he had the crab, he could get out of it, but unfortunate ink there drawing into the
There it is.
Elsa.
And that's all it takes, man. That is all it takes. And you mentioned that earlier. You mentioned that in the intro. It's just one little piece, one slight inking wrong, or one little thing is usually all it takes to break a game open at this. No one's gonna bend. Everyone's gonna play at their highest level. So
Hmm.
that's all it takes. As Sailor can kind of sense the victory. There is no Madam M Fox. We'll just send the Ursula to the Inkwell. I think that brings you up to 7 as well. Just go double go to 16, and then go ahead and start scooping those cards up here as Sailor does have the imminent GGs on the side of the field. We're going to a game number 3. Huh?
Hmm. Gets
Yeah.
another Sisu for good measure. He puts the lucky dime down, explains that the game is over here.
Yeah, and he's probably explaining. He's probably talking about the crowd situation as well. And this game's going to be GG.
Yep.
So we're moving on to a game 3.
That
If your
is
game's like
hype.
Lorcana, let's get hyped, man. Let's get pumped.
Yeah.
We got a game 3. What's better than a game 3? I mean, North America. I'm Canadian today, by the way. This game, North America has been getting absolutely clapped up. We're down 15-10, but if Sailor can somehow come out and get a dub here, get up to 11, maybe we can turn the tides, get a sweep together.
We've been
We'll
saying
pull
that
that out.
every round. We've been down 4 every single round. We're like, maybe we'll get up by 4. No, it hasn't happened
Maybe it
yet,
turns the
but
tide.
we'll see what
Maybe we
happens in
still
Top
might have a
Cut.
chance.
You know,
We'll see. We'll
we'll
see.
see what happens in Top Cut. There's only going to be one champion, and just so you all know, there in the chat, we did get a little bit of a look at what the prize is for the champion, and I
Oh,
gotta say, it
those numbers,
is beautiful. So excited for the community to see that. It is amazing.
man. Oh my goodness. I'm excited for it. I'm ready for it. My body is ready. My mind is ready. And I'm ready to see how this thing's gonna break down. But I know there's gonna be one champion, but I guarantee you the community is gonna look at the win-loss column from the Swiss portion of this
That's what
tournament
they're gonna
and be
care
like,
about. Yeah.
that's the team that won. You guys lost. I don't care about the individual portion. This is a team event. And I'm so glad that they kind of changed it to make it more of a team event through and through
Mhm.
because it's been a spectacular thing, like a regional thing, and it's kind of added another layer to it of fun. I think just no one's taking it super over the top serious, but you do want to represent yourself well. You want to represent your region well, because at least on the streets that I've been watching, the Lorcana streets, a lot of people thought that the DLCs in Europe were somehow softer than the DLCs in the United States. I didn't say that, but that's just what the streets were saying.
Mhm.
And now this is proofs in the pudding that they got some absolute phenomenal players over there in
They
Europe,
got some
as well as
gamers for
America.
sure, and Artabax
100%.
is one of them. We saw what he was able to do at Continentals, sweeping his pod and going 5-0, then not dropping in
Look at that.
a single match the entire Swiss round. So Artabax is one of those top players, and Sailor is, of course, as well. And we're getting into this game 3. Sailor is going to be on the draw for the first time, won the dice roll, but lost on the play in that first game. And that's going to be critical. If Artabax is able to get a fast hand off the get go, it's going to be really, really tough for Sailor to come back. He needs like T-pos to crash into those cursed merfolk, and he needs to
Hmm.
just get into his card draw and get into his ramp as quickly as possible to prevent Artabax from crossing the line. Because Artabax on the draw, 2 straight games, won one of them, nearly won the
Hmm.
second. If he had the crab, maybe he does win the second. So it's going to be an uphill battle for Sailor here.
Oh man, I'm here for it though. But I'm sure Sailor has a comprehensive plan on what to do going second versus this deck. He's probably thinking about the plays, what cards to favor, what card. I think this is going to be the most important or mulligan phase or alter phase that we've had so far because we'll see what they're going to do as we're getting the shuffling. The cutting is out of the way and it's time to play. Man, I'm pumped.
Sailor sailing into the wind for this last match of round 4 for him. I think that was a Madame Medusa. Did he send back immediately? He's got another one in hand, if that's what that was. Not a terrible card to have, honestly, on turn 6. Gets rid of pretty much anything that Artabax is
Hmm.
going to have. And if you're able to ramp into it, might be a little stronger than the Maui Half Shark. But Maui Half Shark
And
was able to prevent a lot of questing in the first game, but it didn't end up mattering.
And it looks like we are favoring that Grandma Tala. We're thumbing that up. Looks like we're gonna hang on to that. We got the half. We got 2 Madame Medusas, so maybe keeping one
Yeah.
and sending one back might be the play. Just trying to find the ink. No, we're sending them both back because you're looking a little ink dry. The ink well is drying up, as that Tipo is going to have to put something down to the ink well as well. You got the Tipo Grandma Tala situation, which is always a vibe. You have the half shark coming in, and you got the popsicle turn one, turn two, turn three play already set up. But now you got to find the ink to get that play going. So if you draw a lot of, I don't know, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I think that s4iler was maybe thinking, all right, I could just ink Madame Medusa. It's an uninkable. I'll just keep it in my hand for
Hmm.
Tipo. But it's a pretty valuable card in this matchup. You maybe want to send that back into the deck and draw it later on. Gets a bunch of items and a Hiram off of the
So you
altar
got the
here.
you got some early game stuff. You got a lot of draw, but looking at Artabax's hand, he's got the Clarabelle, he's got the Chernobog Fall, he's got the Crab, he's got a lot of early game, but not those heavy questing early
Mm-hmm.
guys that you want to see. He's still waiting patiently, as a lot of these pro players do. I've noticed they like to see how many the opponent sends back first, and then they'll make their decision based on how many they send back. That's something I need to incorporate in my game almost immediately because I just get so rambunctious to just immediately give up that free info. Uh, Unless he already did, and I might be mistaken. He might already sent it. I'm just giving him some extra feedback, but I don't know if he did or not. It looks like he did. Okay, my
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
My bad.
Artabax did alter already.
Okay.
But yeah, doesn't have the Curse Merfolk, doesn't have the bonsai that we were talking about, which is unfortunate on Artabax's side, able to get an Elsa off
Mm.
the top. So this Tipo is going to be able to contest the Diablo for free, and then you're going to get into Grandma Tala, who can also contest the board. It's not looking bad for a start on s4iler's side. Definitely not the fast characters that Artabax wanted to see. So it doesn't look like it's immediately over for s4iler. Not that it ever would be,
Absolutely.
but it's a very, very uphill if he.
There are some cards that Artifacts could have drawn to just RKO out of nowhere immediately. What do you think about this new Diablo card? It's lowering itself to me. I loved it when it first came out, but that zero is so annoying. I'm telling you, it's going down for me. What do you think about this new Diablo card?
Yeah, the zero has been especially impactful in this very, very fast meta. You need to be able to contest the board. And if you're playing like Ruby Amethyst or Emerald Amethyst against another Emerald Amethyst deck, they put down a Cursed Merfolk, you put down a Diablo, you feel so anemic and weak. Like, my 1/1 cannot clear your 1/1, and yours quest for double. Well, it's not fair.
And
And then
it's
yours makes me discard the card I would draw off Diablo anyway. So just in the current meta, it's just not good enough. It's not better than
mhm.
the Broom, and it's not better than the Chernobog. So
I would I would concur. I would concur. We're just spamming and slamming. We'll send two more in and put that Diablo horizontal. Just still trying to hit the gas pedal anyway. Even though you don't have those heavy questers, you're still going to get loose with the guys that you got. As we're going to jam two, send Tipo, send down. What was that card that got sent? Was that Grandma Tala? Wow, I thought they favored that Grandma Tala again, but electing to change up the swag a little bit, as we'll just ink another. And these players are playing with some speed and veracity, as we're going to send more sideways, as three is now the lore count for Artabax, kicking it back on over to s4iler here.
yep, Artabax playing really, really fast. Maybe trying to pretend that his characters are a little faster than they are, but they only quest for one. So we're up to three right now. Thinking about a potential quest here and maybe popping it to draw an additional card.
Hmm. Quest and pop, or maybe get into a little Tipo exchange here. Could be the vibe, could be the energy. I don't know if it's worth it. Maybe Quest and Pop. He'll leave him up. Don't do any. Wow. A little leave up situation. As we'll kick it back on over to s4iler. Get
Pirate's
to the
Life,
Pirates life.
huge. Yo ho ho. He knew, where was that in the last two games?
Oh, he could have used that last game. It would have went so insane with double Maui. A Pirate's life would have went so insanely hard, but he couldn't get to it. I believe he's only playing the one copy. I want to say, yeah, just one copy of the Pirate's life in there. Maybe that can go up a little bit because that would have just been violent if he'd have got that to go down. As we will sail again and gets another double ink situation.
Yep, and now he's got a really tough situation. What do we ink? He's got the Popsicle, the Brawl, the Maui, the Hiram, and the Pirate's Life. I don't think you want to get rid of Pirate's Life. It just seems so valuable in this matchup, especially with the Maui in hand.
This is
Pirate's
why I don't
Life.
like.
Get Pirate's Life
I
back.
don't.
Sing Pirate's Life. Like, you know.
I'm not good enough to play Sail the Other Right Sea because I'm always choking on this card too. I am telling you, I am always fumbling the bag on this card because sending two inkable cards to your inkwell right now. You do have this Hiram, you will be able to refill, and you do have this How Far I'll Go. You will be able to sing that with your Hiram.
Just
Maybe.
hurts to
Uh,
ink any of these, I feel
it
like.
does. They're all so good. They're all so good. Do you just not use it? Is that insane? I mean, maybe
You gotta
get down the
sail. You
draw.
gotta do it.
You got to do it. Yeah. Maybe you can play the popsicle with one and then see another draw, and then maybe you
Yep.
got another decision to be made before because you don't have to do it right away. You can wait and then do it whenever. So,
That's true, but if you get another uninkable, the popsicle
oh,
option is gone.
oh, no, yeah, you're cooked. So he's running numbers right now. He's probably thinking about that exact thing. I'm gonna write that down. Ask if that's what he was thinking about because
He's
I want to know
doing
if I'm.
the Zach Galifianakis math in his head to find out how many uninkables. What are the odds? Do we have Frank Karsten in the chat? Can we get some numbers real quick?
By my calculations, it appears as if I have a. I wish I could do math. Oh my goodness, being a mathematician and playing this game. Shout out to shout out to Frank Carson. Being able to do that quick math, that's such an advantage. I should send it. It's all vibes and feel, man. It's all and that never works. Okay, vibes and feel does not beat mathematics ever. Uh, that's my
Vibes
reason.
will
But
win one out of 100, I think.
yeah, vibes and feel calculations. I mean, maybe a little bit better. As he's still thinking about it. Those are the three cards that you got to put down. You
It,
got Brawl, Pirate's Life, and looks like you're gonna put the Pirate's Life in. No, we're still pondering here. Tough spot. Another critical moment.
yeah, I would
Critical
sit
moment.
here and pontificate on what the proper option would be, but I think I would
Do
be
you know math?
completely out of my
Are you
depth.
are you a math? Are you no? Just sell it. Just sell it really quickly. I know I'm putting you on the spot. Just sell it mathematically. What do you think? Look at the deck list. You got 2 minutes. You're on the spot. What is the play? What are the odds? What are the odds he draws an unequal card on this popsicle?
I'm not gonna lie, I my first period was math my entire senior year of high school, and I skipped like 90% of classes.
All right, cut that. Edit that out of there. Okay, edit that out of there. All right. So he's still thinking about it. It looks like we're going to. I think he has the option to put one more anchor. Does he have two? I think he's thumbing up two cards. Maybe just one can go down. He's really thinking
So he
here.
used the Tipo on turn 2. This is his turn 3, correct? So we have not inked
Right.
yet. He can ink 2 cards for this turn.
Okay. He played the sale. Did he ink and play sale, or did he just play sale?
I believe he just played Sail because uh,
Okay.
on turn 2 he inked with Tipo, so he should be on 3 already, right? So he should have
Gotcha.
an ink this turn and an ink for Sail.
Gotcha. So yeah, this is even tougher because you're gonna lose two cards then. That is rough. That is a
Yeah,
rough
yeah.
ride. So
So,
he's
the popsicle play and maybe finding another inkable is a choice. Oh, he goes for the Pirate's Life. He inks the
inks another.
popsicle.
Okay.
It's tough.
And he
He
goes
he elects to use the
and he
brawl. Yeah.
okay. And that's what he elected to do. I feel that's not too bad. You do have this harem that will be able to replenish your hand a little bit and then start setting you up for that Maui shark in following turns. And you had to get some of that lore off the board. So keeping Artabax at 3, possibly going to 4 next turn. That probably decides your play. Just clearing some cards out of there. Now we're going to be on Artabax. It looks like no, it's the green box thing. They're not doing the green box thing. So we're gonna
Okay,
we're gonna
Artabax does
green box.
quest. We'll
Okay,
see if he
there
elects to draw a card, which he does. He finds a Curse
it
Merfolk. There's one of the
is.
fast cards, but he's on turn 4. He probably wants to play a Genie. But next
Mhm.
turn, you're set up pretty good with like a Goat plus a Merfolk. Not bad. And Sailor right now, hand looking pretty empty. That was such a tough turn for him. Deciding what to ink. A goat goes in the
And
inkwell, decides for the rabbit.
favor the rabbit over genie. Interesting indeed. Maybe you're not trying to play into the half shark, keeping your genie alive or keeping your genie alive for a little later game push might be the play.
Yeah, no Vitalisphere out to make the half shark go faster, but does opt for the Merlin rabbit.
So now Artifact is going to have to ponder a little bit, and we're going to quest. It looks like
Mhm.
we're taking down the Tipo. No, we're just quest for one and pass it back on over. So we get into the Let It Go, which is another action card for that half shark. Do a little bit of lore gain there. Is it half shark time now? And it is. Look at the half shark. He's out ready to defend against potential genie operation as we'll kick it back on over to Artabax. Man, what another tight game.
Yep, it's Maui time, and the go-go comes off the top. So now the Hiram, a lot tougher of a proposition to have on the board and be questing. But of course, Sailor doesn't know that it's in the hand. He's always got to be thinking it could be a possibility. But we're pretty far away from those go-go turns right now. We're just at 5, but a lot of gas in Artabax's hand. A lot of gas. He can hit the nitrous at any point and start going very, very fast.
I still think he does. He faded a be prepared in game number one. I don't know if he's feeling lucky enough to try it again in a game number three. So he might take it a little bit slower this time and try to ride out the be prepared and just keep taking these onesie, twosie quest operations. I think that could be what Arbax is thinking while you grow your hand to
Mm-hmm.
come back after another be prepared. Also, you got to think about giving the half shark someone to hit into. It's probably something Artabax is also thinking about. So man, tough spot all around as we send the genie and we'll ink and slam the merfolk. So caution into the wind. We'll send it in and pass, it looks like. Tight spot.
Yep. Again, Artabax electing to believe that Be Prepared does not exist. So we are getting the gas onto the board. We got the Curse Merfolk, we got the Genie, we got the Crab, and the Rabbit. All in, that's going in for 6 potential on the board. But like you were saying, you don't necessarily want to quest into that Half Shark. It's going to get Brawls back, it's going to gain lore.
Yeah. And you definitely you if you art Sailor's probably like, dude, I want this. I want this. I want more be prepares in my deck. I'm putting more be prepares in. That's probably one change he's going to make to add more be prepares because playing two and your opponent knowing you're playing two,
Hmm.
they just play right into it a little willy nilly sometimes. But yeah, I think keeping your guys upright might be the way to go, and then maybe make a huge questing turn next as this Go Go Tamago is looking ready to feast as well. Do you have any aviation over there? You have the genie, so you can get a little bit of residuals from that.
Yep, elects for how far I'll go. Keeps the vision to the future. I think that's a key card to find that board wipe potential, either the Be Prepared or the Sisu. Definitely something he wants to find and find as soon as possible. Has the potential for a brawl here, if I'm not mistaken, but opts for a sail. Finds another how far I'll go.
Probably just a. Oh, he used it too. Wow, it sends two more to the inkwell. That I did not see coming. Okay, so he's cooking and we'll play the visions to burn for one
Mm-hmm.
and get some more cards. Probably looking for something to try to close this thing out. That Tamatoa is looking quite juicy. And yeah, he puts that thing right to the far left. And then we have another Hiram. Don't need him. We got another vision. That other vision's looking quite succulent as well. I don't know. They're. I think that's the order of operations. I say Tamatoa and that visions. Let's see if Sailor agrees or disagrees.
Yeah, right now, I think you still want to find those Sisus. You still want to find potential Be Prepareds, and Tamatoa can help you end the game if you have items out, but you don't have any. You don't have the Lucky Dime. You might just want to go on a Vision Quest and find some more potential cards here.
I love that. I'm stealing that too. So I'm a vision quest. Walking through the Mojave. There he is, and he will elect to take the vision, and that's and he gets the tent and gets the. So he has two actions in hand. So that lore is actually starting to build up a little bit as you're able to get a couple more actions. So, but this game is kind of getting away from you. It's still low right now, but a couple of huge quests, and it can come to a screeching halt. And that Go-Go is just sitting there menacingly.
Yep.
Still got to feed your inkwell a little bit to make it as viable as possible. But man, oh man, it's looking so good over there for that Go-Go. Not even gonna lie, especially with the Curse Merfolk with that. No, not Curse Merfolk. I'm sorry. With the Genie can actually hit into the half shark. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
wow.
definitely an option if we want to remove this half shark from the board. It has
With the
gained a
yep.
little bit of lore. It can get those actions back, and it makes the crackback a lot less of a factor,
Yeah,
right? If the
because he can.
half
I think
shark's gone.
he's probably thinking about taking it out right now. Like he's got the crab and he's got the fox. Beef up the genie and just kill it or destroy it. No. challenge is the word I'm looking for.
Challenge and
Uh,
vanish into the
challenge
Discord.
and banish. That's a word. Challenge and banish. Those are the two terms. No kill. We're not killing anything. Okay, these are Disney. Disney's anti-kill. Okay, we're just gonna challenge and banish. As I think that could be pretty groovy. I don't
An
know.
all-powerful
As
genie versus a demigod
who
trickster.
wins?
Who does win? Well, with a little help from your friend Merlin, a genie can do anything. So we'll
Look
see
at
what
that.
we decide to do. Might quest with a rabbit, bounce back with the fox potentially. Look for some
Mm-hmm.
more options. But this is another one of those games where Artabax has to play everything like so perfectly. Decides to remove the Tipo. That's an additional lure off the board, and then bounce. Gets a goat, or sorry, not a goat, but a bonsai. Again, this is one of those games where Artabax like can't turn anything sideways because
Yeah.
of the half shark, and now could go for the crab again, but
Oh, we're sending the go go. Probably doing a little bait and switch there. We'll send the go go. And I think we're gonna go crab for
yep.
Genie just to take out the half shark. And that way you keep yourself with three cards in hand. So even if you do get be prepared here, it's not the end of the world. You still have cards and you still have a long game left to play, and you're almost halfway to the Lord total as Sailor is just only sitting at 5 with only two cards in hand. Drawing into another Tipo, which not doing a whole lot in this late game kind of situation, as Artabax's board is so beefed up already with a huge questing power over there. And you get to the Sisu and the ice block and another half shark. What are we keeping?
Wow.
It's so tight. I can't even watch, dude. What are we keeping?
Maybe
Getting
you
sweaty
just
hands.
go for the half shark again and potentially get those visions of the future back, but he's dug so far into his deck and hasn't seen a big Sisu, hasn't seen a be prepared.
And you need it. Is there a world you keep this ice block? No, you can't. You cannot afford to keep the ice block in Quest and Pop. It's just so dangerous.
Yeah, especially with the Madam Mim Fox out there that's cracking in for 4 into
Yeah.
your high room, and then it's just a
And we just
really
saw the
tough
Inca
position.
Go Go too. Tough spot. Yeah, I think your plays might be the one. I think you keep the half shark and then you just saddle him up and try to ride him on to victory, perhaps. But that's not a little bit of lore on the opposite side of the field.
Oh, it's a
At
lot.
that, that's a lot, and it's going to pile up pretty quickly. So you're going to have to start fighting this board a little bit too. So Artifact's kind of in a good position if you can get to a be prepared and they haven't played any Ursulas yet. So I think trying to draw something right now or trying to do the hero play, I think that might be at a detriment because I don't think you'll be able to do that play and then play the beef bear. You have to hold in your hand and you risk an Ursula ripping it from you. So it's tough. It's tough. It's tough, man. It's a tight spot. So maybe think about the Grandma Tala as well. I think that might not be the worst card either, just to get some more cards drawn and cycled through. Maybe that can get you to the be prepared because I think you're all in on this be prepared at this point, perhaps.
Yeah, unfortunately for Sailor, his digging options have been pretty bad. I think maybe he needs to dig a little deeper, but unfortunately doesn't have that in his deck. Thinking over his options, there are a few. They're not all that great. He needs to deal with the board and deal with it as soon as possible. And Artabax still has 3 in his hand where he can refill the board and draw cards because he knows that the rabbit is sitting in Artabax's hand after being bounced on the last turn by the fox. So Sailor just being put in a ton of really, really tough positions. Again, that's the versatility of this Emerald Amethyst deck. All the threats that it can pose, not only on the board, but potential ones in the hand as well. Those are things that Sailor needs to think about at all times while simultaneously thinking about what he needs in his own deck and what will help him now and in future turns. So, just really, really hard decisions.
I mean, maybe he can set up this little Sisu. No, he can't. He can't do both. He can't keep the little Sisu and the ice block. So
Yeah.
he's got a lot to ponder. Maybe the little Sisu is still good enough with the Curse Merfolk, just clearing that two lower off the board. And then if you felt so inclined, you felt so nasty, you could sing this "How Far I'll Go," and maybe you can get to be prepared off those two draws you get there with
Yep.
the Hiram. That's also a huge gamble. But I mean, fortune favors the bold. Sometimes you got to just grip it and rip it and run the numbers and hope it works out. That is a strategy sometimes. We look like we're going to keep the Sisu indeed.
Yep,
This
thinking about
oof.
keeping the Sisu, not necessarily the Sisu he wanted, But a Sisu, nonetheless, that does remove that 2 lore, as you said. But right now would be like the only opportunity to take that Sisu without an ice block. That's the only thing in the deck you really want to hit, other than potentially a Diablo, but not nearly as scary.
Mm. I mean, are you ever putting this him sideways at any point? Are you singing? Or are you doing anything with him? Is he just going to stay there looking beautiful for the rest of the day? And we do it. And we hard cast it. We're going to hard cast the how far I'll go, and we'll get into the Maui and the ice block. So you get another painful choice that you have to make. You keep it's not ice block, excuse me, popsicle,
Yep.
and you will keep it, but and you will probably play it as well, just to keep cycling cards, and you get into another how far I'll go, having to ink the Tipo and then jamming the Sisu. Man,
Now, do you
those
sing here? Or do you quest here? Or do
um
you leave him upright?
those are three painful choices. But I think honestly, I think I like to remember what happened to me in the past, and I like to, even if it's wrong, if something bad happens to me once, I do that thing opposite so it doesn't happen again, the exact same thing. And he got that how far ago ripped last time. I'm singing it so he can't rip it again. That's me. I don't know if that's right. I'm very recency what happened to me biased. But questing will give you more cards, and that will also give you the opportunity to get to that be prepared, and Ursula can just rip that too. So that's more stuff. Maybe just passing is the right way to go, but that's losing so much on your tempo, and you're not able to break this board. I don't know, man. It's tough. This is a tough game, tough spot for Sailor. It's looking a little grim for the NA team.
Yeah, I don't think you necessarily need to play how far I'll go right at this second. I mean, if you were to hardcast it next turn, for example, you'd still have seven
Mm-hmm.
left over for the be prepared. So you could just quest here and gain 2 cards. Of course, he's always thinking about a potential go-go, which could be
Mm-hmm.
backbreaking or Artabax to gain 4 here. But I think Sailor knows he needs to start looking for some answers.
Right.
I mean, not that he hasn't been. Like, how many cards have we seen over the past 3 turns with
So many.
all this draw and all this cycling, 2 visions, and we've dug like 20, 30 cards deep now and really have not seen these board wipes. They got to be coming up soon, right?
And yeah, the discard's piling up too, and like Sisu is coming, but Sisu's not really doing too much work right now. No work at all, actually. Sisu's quite underemployed. You need that be prepared, but you do have a huge crackback, even if you drop the be prepared. As Artifact's only sitting at 6 ink though, so your next turn won't be as dynamic if you can manage to somehow clear this board. As it looks like Sailor's stumming up to Hiram for a mighty quest, perhaps he might be thinking about putting that thing sideways right now. So and he does go for the pop. So he takes your play, goes for the pop, and gets into a brawl. Maui, how far I'll go is going to be the hands we pass over to the. Oh man, I can't even say it. I will refuse to say this character's name. I'll just pass it over to you. And
The Kit Cloud Kicker goes into
there it is. There
Artabax's
it is.
hand.
There it is. That card is on the field. Every time I say it, I say something that I probably shouldn't be saying in a children's card game. So it's kind of a tongue twister, not trying to say it. As we're going to have the rabbit as well. Look, we're thinking about putting the rabbit in. And you also could use a kit. We're probably not bouncing that Hiram. We'll probably leave him up. Probably trying to stack some damage on that Hiram right now, if you could. To try to set
There's
yourself up to the
Ursula.
Ursula. Oh, mega punish again. Oh no, and the Ursula comes down and rips to how far I'll go back to back. And Sailor's like, you gotta be kidding me.
He
You
needed that to
gotta be
search.
kidding
He
me.
really needed that to
Oh,
search. But Maui
dang.
Brawl's not terrible again. He knows that Be Prepared's not in hand artifacts, but he knows that a Brawl and a Maui are. Maui's going to remove something that quests, and then the Brawl might hit a Merlin, might hit the Ursula if you're worried about the shift. I don't think we've seen the Sea Witch Queen go into the ink yet. Gotta always think about that as well. Those one ofs and two ofs are relevant.
Oh man, oh man. So now this is looking pretty bad. I'm sure he wanted that how far I'll go because he needed some more dig. And you know your Harem is not gonna last another turn probably. Unless you're trying to set yourself up for a top deck go-go, maybe stack some damage on this Harem. And maybe he'll have to brawl his own Harem or something if it gets and just quest aggressively with the rest of your guys. I'm not sure what the correct answer is here. It looks like we're gonna take the Harem out right now and not even try to do any kind of shenanigans or funny business. Just get that thing on off the field, and then we'll quest again with the Fox. And man, oh man, hitting that how far I'll go feels bad, but the game is not over. as you have more opportunities. We'll see what kind of cards you got coming off the top. I think Be Prepared here is actually quite great if you can get to it. And we got another game. And it's not. Oh man, it is just the Madame Medusa is going to be drawn. So this will kind of help you a little bit, but still, I think that card is just too slow at this current moment. You can Medusa and you can Brawl, and I think that's probably gonna be the play.
Yeah, I mean, it's Brawl with a body at this point, right?
Yeah,
Well, obviously it's a little better than Brawl. It can hit things with 3 strength. And then you Maui into something else. You are at 11. You can hold the Brawl for the turn after that. Sisu, unfortunately, not able to crash into anything with just that middling 1-1 stat
you can
line.
get a little you can get a little quest going.
Yeah,
See, just want a little quest, a little baby quest. Every little point counts.
sure.
Every little piece matters. So maybe go a little micro quest up to the corner store. Get a little one in there. And if so huge that one comes up. The game is still not over. You are one Be Prepared away from breaking this thing open, as you're only questing for 5 on that next turn. You don't have those big 2 cost, two lore bodies. You haven't really had any all game. You had one Cursed Merfolk, but just 5, so that gives you at least one more turn of survival, perhaps. But when you're at 15, it can be game at any moment.
Yeah, most definitely. Got to put the Medusa here. Got to put the Maui here. I mean, those are the options you have available to you, but you have to
But still,
decide what you're going to use them on.
yeah, again, that Maui is also susceptible to a go-go. Everything is go-go. Like we're in
Yep.
go-go meta right now. Everything is go-go all the time. You bring out Maui, you hit that fox. Guess what you just did? You gave yourself a go-go ink right there.
Such a
It's
stressful
all it's
card.
yeah,
Just
it's just
just so hard to play against. I played against Emerald Amethyst over the weekend at PAX twice,
mm,
and man, if that card wasn't at the forefront of my mind every single turn, and maybe it's just one of those cards that gives you a mental edge over your opponent. Maybe these players are far more mentally strong than I am, but thinking about it and stressing about it the whole game is tough to do when you're trying to get your own game plan going and you have answers in your deck like Maui. You're like, okay, this is perfect, and then you're like, oh wait, no, it's not. I can't get rid of this goat. He's gonna gain 4 next turn.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. How was PAX though, by the way? I haven't seen any reports coming out of there. I heard it was really, really awesome. And they had some really cool masks they were giving out.
Yeah, PAX was great this year. Highly recommend if you can go. They have Ravensburger is there in full force with tournaments and a lot of fun
Hmm.
things to do. He does go for the Ursula again. That shift line is so threatening, as we talked about just a minute ago. You have to get rid of it. Goes for a crab as well instead of the fox again. Got to mitigate the potential go-go damage.
Mm. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. As we get into another fox, so you're kind of losing a little bit of your lore pressure. You're not getting the cards you need either. Granted, Sailor's not getting the cards that they need, as both players are getting cards in a disjointed order. If you want it, you probably clear a little bit of this board, but Maui really isn't doing too much to you right now if you don't put your guys horizontal. But you're gonna have to start questing if you want to win at some
Mhm.
point. So you're gonna have to start getting active before Sailor can get that Be Prepared set up, get another item going, get another Hiram going. I know right now he's top decking, but if you can manage to somehow finesse this board, clear this board, I think you're in a very, very advantageous spot for Artabax, as we're just questing for one with a rabbit with a little bounce draw situation. Tales as old as time, man.
He put his rabbit into the discard pile. Hopefully
Yeah,
they catch that.
that should be in the hand. I'm sure. Shout out to the judges. Shout out
Yep,
to the judges. They're
right on
all
top
over
of
this
it.
thing. Shout out to the judge staff. They've been crushing this thing all tournament long. So
Of
that was
course.
caught almost immediately. And it looks like we're loading up that click. Oh, kit. Oh my God. I'm so
Loading
sorry.
up the Kit Cloud Kicker. No
Kit
problem.
Kit Cloud Kicker. There it is. I do apologize. And gets that guy going to the inkwell probably. No, we're gonna keep him in hand. We're just adjusting the position there. No, he will find his way into the inkwell, and it looks like we're gonna be holding everyone here in a ready position. Probably set
Maybe
yourself up
go
for another
another
call.
rabbit. you could go with that. I mean, you play the bonsai. If he top decks it, be prepared. You get pretty punished. Rabbit gives you another card. We'll see what he
Mhm.
decides. Looks like he's going for bonsai.
All in. I love the aggression, dude. All in. He's like, you don't got it. You've drawn 95% of your deck. You don't have be prepared. You don't have the skills to draw be prepared either. I'll see what you got and I'll raise you a bonsai and put the pressure on Sailor as he's like, you got to be kidding me. Come on, be prepared. As he's looking at his deck with full disgust.
Yeah.
We'll send the Crab Maui. Okay. And it looks like we're going to pass on that. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness. What do you think?
you could get rid of the Maui while you have the opportunity. Popsicle could come off the top, peel the Maui, and uh, potentially get you into a 3-for-1 position. I think it's okay to get rid of the crab there. We get the Tala off the top, so Tala's going to take a little look-see. Hopefully, Sailor can find something he wants, and unfortunately, does not.
As we looks like we're going to keep the half shark.
Yeah,
Half
gotta
shark
keep the
is
half
able to
shark.
half shark's gonna be able to fight this board a little bit, and it looks like you'll be able to take down one lore of the Madam Mim Fox. Trading down though, 6 for a 4 never feels good, but at this point in the game, every little lore is counting up, and it all matters. So getting that one lore off the board probably super critical. And now this Ursula, or excuse me, this Elsa play is looking quite juicy.
Mm-hmm.
No, he does. Can you crab Elsa right now? Do you have enough?
Yeah, he's at 7. If he inks the goat, he can do it. Might be back-breaking for Sailor if that Maui half shark gets removed. And Crab just showing how powerful the card has been since its introduction. It falls in and out of the meta frequently. Artabax asking to see what is in Sailor's discard to see if it is worth to get rid of this Maui. I'm sure he does not want Sailor to get a Visions back. That's certainly the last thing he wants to see come down for Sailor. You gotta think, I've gone through so many cards at this point. If I can Visions again, I'll definitely find Sisu. I'll definitely find Be Prepared. Like, there's no way I
I'm
don't.
I'm not a mathematician again, but I that's the odds are all. Or if you've looked at 15 cards, okay, you gotta be close to seeing one of your two be prepared. Just I'm talking 15 cards
Yep.
on just visions of the future,
Not
not including
including
all the Irams and
Kala. Yeah,
yeah,
all
and
that.
the Irams and normal drawing and all that. No popsicles. That's a lot of cards you've already filtered through your deck. So and granted, Visions to the Future puts cards at the bottom, so you're just putting fresh cards cycling towards the top. It's got to be getting close.
Mm-hmm.
As the board still is looking quite small and for Artabax, and you do have more cards in hand. So even if Be Prepared does come down, it's not pretty much it's not over. You still have another. You can build another board and continue to grind. As we'll send the rabbit in, we're not doing the crab play. We're not doing the crab Elsa play. Just saying, you know what, we're going to take it slow and electing. Let's say we quest here again. He just
Mm-hmm.
holds it out again. If he doesn't quest here, I can't. I'm not on this level, and I'll never be. I'm so bad. What is he going to do? He's got to play around the half shark. He's he's gotta consider that guy. Maybe he'll just keep stacking guys onto the field. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. Brawl is looking great too.
Yeah, the two goats being in hand are super nice to find.
And he has that Elsa crab, which can pretty much get him out of any scenario that Sailor can put up. Because Elsa crab can tap down Tamatoas, it can tap down the dragon if it needed to, it can tap down pretty much anything that Sailor can commit. So it looks like, but he might be throwing this thing into the inkwell. Interesting. He's Artabax is built different, dude. Every time I think I know what's going on, I don't. Okay, so never mind. Forget everything I said again. As we're going to just jam the goat here. Artabax built different, dude. I didn't see it. I didn't see it. My bad.
Yeah, I
I didn't
mean,
see it.
without using the Elsa crab into Maui, again, not favoring the crab. It did bite him in the last game. We find a
Mm-hmm.
Vitalisphere off the top. And since Artabax did not quest, he is again just setting up slowly but surely his board presence where he can get to the point where he can sort of just end the game. And not questing, not giving the Maui the opportunity to get those visions back. You're just seeing
And
very
this.
patient play on Artabax's side.
So what is he threatening there now? That's one, two, three, four, five coming in. I'll put you at 17. Goat is going to get you 18. Goat in hand is going to get you 19. And you get into the go-go. So now you can't quest. Holy. Oh man. This is a mess. As we do Brawl the Rabbit. Okay, you gain a lore there, push you at 9. And now you can't quest again. You're stuck. You're kind of trapped. And it looks like the half shark is loading up to do a quest. He is evasive. The Sisu is evasive, but Grandma Tala is not. Okay, but oh man, tight spot. But you're only threatening 12 though, so you're still kind of chilling.
Yeah, so on Artabax's side, he's got 4, can go to 16, like you said. There's the potential of, Elsa could come down with Gogo next turn if he finds an additional ink, but that's only for 2. Probably not super worth. There's the Kit Cloud Kicker that could go into the inkwell and put that play online, I believe. Yeah, that'll
Mm.
put Artabax at 9, so he could Elsa Gogo in the same turn. So that'll put him to 18 plus goat on board plus goat in hand. That's like almost guaranteed win.
Oh, yeah, that's rough spot. As Sailor's still trying to grind back. You're at 12. You really don't have a lot going on. You need to have this Maui Shark hit something so they can get another action going. Because you really want to get to that Be Prepared. Maybe you could top deck it next turn, but I still don't think Be Prepared is good enough anymore. Because it's just so inevitable with the Go Go, with the Elsa, with the Goat in hand, and you got so much power on the board. It's looking not great. Artabax is thinking about it here. Maybe you might want to. There's no way you can get a game shot going on here, at all. So maybe he's trying to ponder. Unless there is, I don't know, man. Maybe it might be a way you could just get in there and just get loose from gain 8 lore right now. I don't see it, but it's definitely possible. As can you stack 4? No, you can't stack 4 onto the Maui Shark.
No, can't
Um,
can't do that currently. I Yeah, I think he can just get to 18 this turn, but 18 is basically 20 at this point. There's no dime on board. There's no like big Sisu or Tamatoa, so it's not like Sailor is really threatening to win the game here. And you know that his only Pirate's life is in the
it's
inkwell.
gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's probably the correct play. Getting up to that 18 with 2 goats in rotation. It's inevitable. It's probably GG's.
Yep.
It's a slow constrictor win. It's a terrible way to lose. It feels bad, but it's definitely a way to play, and that's just what makes this green purple deck, this emerald amethyst deck, so viable right now. I think it's a strong S tier strategy. I think it's a very good deck. And if you're playing on the local circuit, or if you're going to store championships, or you're playing in any case tournament, box tournament, you better have a plan to encounter this deck because it is destroying my local area. It's everywhere. All my guys are playing it, and I don't really have a good plan for it. It can just munch the red stuff. It's even very good against the silver stuff, or the steel stuff, which it absolutely wasn't before. So it's interesting, man. I think it's a great deck. It's a great meta. It's a great game. You got to just do it. As we're looking like we're loading up that play, as Elsa might be coming on in for a little bit of rush challenge and a Tamago pop for 4 with a full out quest. And will we do it? Yeah, looks like we're doing a mighty quest for 3, putting you up to 5th, 16. We'll go. We'll slam into the Maui Shark
Yep.
go go for
Here
2.
comes the
Oh,
big Go-Go, who was so powerful during the European Continentals as well. Just another one of those meta warping cards, or brain warping cards for me, at least. So now that puts Artabax into the situation where this is just GG, all tied up for Artabax, and that makes him undefeated in the
undefeated.
Lorcana Cross Continental Challenge. So that's going to put him number 1 seed, I believe, if he
Mm-hmm.
remains undefeated, which he will be, right? This is the last
Yeah,
round,
this is the
so that
this
should
is the
put,
last round of Switch portion.
yep, Artabax will have that pleasure of going first should he make it to the final. So just amazing play from both players. Unfortunately for Sailor, he doesn't know it yet, but it is over, and he just was not able to find the cards that he needed. How many cards did he look through? I'm sure somebody can do the math, and on the VOD, let me know down in the comments how many cards did Sailor look at this game and not find a single Be Prepared or a single Big Sisu. It's absolutely insane the amount of cards he cycled through. Look, he's got 2. How far it goes in the 3, but he only used 2. plus the Gramatalas, plus the Visions. It's just crazy that he didn't find one.
Yeah. And it's just so unfortunate, like you said, because he just, I mean, the game is over, and there's really not much you can do about with that goat just in hand and one looming on the field because he's going to have to hit the discard sooner or later. Unless you can, no, there's no plan, there's no path that you can stop that from happening, and he just bring down the other one, and it's going to be GG's. So,
Even
but
without the
still,
goat in hand, right? It's still just
yeah,
game on board. If he clears the goat, which he has to, that's 19, and then go quest for one. So you don't have any way to exert the go. You don't have. I mean, you can with Maui, you can get a brawl back and brawl the go, but yeah,
yeah.
it's so
But
Sailor
he's thinking that.
technically has an out here to put Artabax to 19 and not lose.
I mean, he can challenge with the Maui, get back the vision, play the vision, and then I
That's
think he
also
should have
true.
enough ink to. If he does get to be prepared, if he doesn't get to be prepared, I think he just take the whole deck and throw it against the wall or toss it out the window or something. But he should get to the be prepared. He could then play it, but then the game would just end too. So it's tough. It is very very tough because the goats just make it that that much harder. But he checks the bottom two cards. It's like to be prepared. It's like self stacked
Yeah,
or
I
something.
think if you get the vision and you don't get like a board wipe, you like is it worth risking? You've already gone through so many cards and not found it. Just get the brawl. Like the brawl saves you from losing, right? If you play Vital Sphere, you can buff up your Sisu to the point where it can remove one of these three characters. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so you don't need the board wipe, you just need the brawl. But unfortunately, as we know, the goat is in hand.
Oh, and he hits the goat too. Yeah. So that puts him up to 19. I Artabax can just reveal goat now and just save us all the
Save the heartache for Sailor
save.
when he plays it on the start of his next turn. He does go for the vision, so
Okay.
there's
And he's
the
probably
option.
just trying to hold out for a be prepared, maybe, but still, it's inevitable, man. With that one goat, we'll just go ahead and get
There's
the
Sisu. There's
Sisu.
Sisu. There's Be Prepared. They're all right next to each other. What is going on?
No, not like this. Not like this. That is so unfortunate. But still, either way, win, lose, or draw, I think this was a fantastic game. I think both of these players played expertly with the cards they were had given, and we kind of knew that it was going to come down to a little bit of variance, a little bit of how the cards flowed in. But I think, given the cards that each player had, I think they played it to the best of their possible ability, and I still think it was a fantastic show. Even though Sailor's still fighting, never giving up, even though we all know at home that that goat is just sitting there just laughing. Unless there's like they don't have there's no card destruction. There's no discard options that they have,
No.
which would be really cool. But it's just one of those things. So we're gonna everyone just feel the vibe, feel the energy as he understands that that's goat in hand. Artabax does just being good sport about it, not just saying, "Hey, I got the goat. I can just show you now and save yourself the brain." I would appreciate personally, I would appreciate that if I was Sailor, but I think it's just good sportsmanship. Just let him play it through, see how he would break this board down, and just keep
Yeah,
playing.
it's good practice. I mean, Sailor has Continentals coming up, which is very important. He's gonna certainly face this deck in multiple rounds, I would think. So you want to play through all potential lines that could be out there, and Sailor's doing what he can. It's just so unfortunate that it was Sisu, B prep back to back to back at the bottom of the deck. Like, if you just run into those earlier, you have the opportunity to come back and win this game. But unfortunate set of circumstances for Sailor here where he just runs into the problem of not finding those cards. And then, like you said during game one, maybe you up that number of be prepareds a little bit,
Yeah,
but the uninkable
just
count is something you also need to be aware of.
it's very staggering. But it looks like he's gonna finally commit to the play. Probably, I don't know if it's. I think he's jamming up the Sisu, and maybe he can board swipe. No, you have to jam up the. I don't know. It's tough,
How much
man.
ink does he
It's
have
tough,
left?
man.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
He
8, 9.
he should have nine
So
left.
he can. Vitalosphere costs 3 to play and use, right? So if he inks Tomato. Wait, no, it's still not enough, right? Or does it cost 1 to use?
Which one?
Vitalosphere. Because he can
Yeah, you
use.
have to pay. You have to pay for the Vitalosphere.
Does it cost 1? Because if
Yeah,
he.
one.
Okay, so it costs 1. So if he inks a Tamatoa, he can play down the Vitalosphere, use it on Sisu, clear Bonsai, clear Madam Mim with Tala, then play Sisu, clear the Go-Go. Now you got a 3-quester on board, and if he doesn't have Goat or White Rose, now you have a 3-quester and you can start getting in for
Mm.
the lore. So I think that's the line of thinking. If he has enough ink, that's definitely the best play rather
Oh,
than
and
rather than the Be Prepared. The goat is
okay.
kind of poking out over top of the hand. Okay, he decides to shift it.
And yeah, that'll go ahead and clear it. That will clear the board, but
Okay.
I think they kind of know that the goat is there and Vitalosphere is going to be played, and we're just going to kind of just pile the cards up there, and we're going to get a dub for Artabax,
Yep.
who is the MVP, rocking and rolling through this thing. Oh man, green purple is back. Emerald Amethyst is back. If you're not ready, you better go out and get ready because that is going to be the deck to beat. And it was played at a masterful level. I'm talking I
Mhm.
misplayed 50 to 60 times in one game. And clearly I'm no Artabax, just based on the way that he put those plays together. And he absolutely navigated all the problems. But s4iler didn't get the cards he needed, as you stated, and that is going to be how the game is played from time to time, as I'm sure you know. Oh man, but still, what a great, fantastic match. I love
Yeah,
it.
amazing match. We are going to get into player interviews here real
Yeah, I'm
shortly.
getting
We
there.
have s4iler in the chat,
s4iler, air horns.
and we are
Horns.
waiting for Artabax. So it
Well,
should just
while
be
s4iler's
one
here, I
second.
gotta
Here's
admit, s4iler,
Artabax.
how many
Uh,
how many cards did you look at before you got to your be prepared there? How sad was that? How'd that feel?
46.
You
Oh,
counted. That was absolutely brutal because it was like Sisu, Sisu, be prepared, like one
uh,
after another when you needed them like so much earlier. But that was a crazy match. It was really a pleasure to watch from both of you. It was really interesting artifacts early in game one where you were just playing down characters, not questing, playing around the Maui half shark, but potentially playing into like a big be prepared or a
Yeah.
Sisu. Was your line of thinking just like I have to play to win, not play to
Yeah.
not lose
Yeah.
type thing, right?
It's kind of a lose-lose situation, you know. On the play, the Maui on turn 4 is really really rough for green purple. So sometimes you have just to assume they don't have everything, and I don't know how I. It was so lucky for me to get this game. I had exactly the answer for Tamatoa then, and then exactly putting Lethal on board with him having no answer. So it was, um, yeah, I just stole this game because he was really crushing me, uh, generally. So yeah, it was very, very, very lucky for me. And yeah, it was a very intense match in total. There were so many decisions. I made a slight misplay in the third game. I could have I could have one more lore earlier where I challenged. I don't know why I did that with a rabbit. I challenged a tipo where I
Yeah.
just boxed the tipo. Then I don't know. Sometimes my brain doesn't work. But yeah, it's when you're very focused. Sometimes you make misplays. So that's one thing. Um,
Artabax, I have a question for you though about
yeah,
again huge congratulations on your continental win or not continental win but your LCQ win and your continental placement. Did
thank
you
you.
play did you play this same deck there or what were some of the changes you made from this deck using this LCC as kind of like a testing ground? What are some changes that you made? Did you adopt any new cards to this Emerald Amethyst strategy?
Yeah, it's actually a good bunch different cards. There were no band size in my deck in the LCQ, the Continentals, and I kind of still think that's maybe right for a wide open meta.
Mm,
But against Red Blue, they are really handy. They're really good. So they are just bad into steel. So against s4iler, actually, I was happy that I have my old list. Um, yeah, but yeah, it was a
okay.
very very close game. I cut the band size, played snakes, then played no gazelle, played two bells,
Mm,
um, and yeah, I think that's the most
absolutely.
different thing. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. I mean, you are the MVP of this tournament, man. It's been pretty cool seeing you come out here. Did you expect to go 4-0? And how are you going to prepare to go into that next round, going into the final that's a number one seed? Everyone's coming for you now.
Never ever did I expect that. I mean, we all know, I think we all 16 know that we are all on the, you could say same level, and there's much variance in the results. So a dice roll is a really important thing, although I lost all my 4 dice rolls.
Couldn't capitalize on it.
And the matchups are also very important. So I think it's just a very fun thing for us. It's good for testing for us. That's really good. I think when we all know we play against considered some of the best players in the world, that's always good testing for us all. So we are glad, I think, to have this opportunity to play here.
Especially with the tournaments coming out.
Yeah, but I don't. I don't count it too much that I am now 4-0. If we replay all the matches, they could go different. So it's yeah.
Absolutely.
Of course, the deck is not bad. Of course, that's not what I want to say. But it could go different next time. So yeah. But
Absolutely.
I'm
That's just
happy
the way
with
the game is
deck
played.
in itself. Yeah.
For sure. That's just the way the game is played.
s4iler, I had a question for you. In the third game, there were a lot of really critical decisions, a lot of decision trees that you had to go through, thinking about what was in your deck, what did you want to potentially see, what Artabax could potentially have. But there was one turn early on, I believe it was your turn 3, where you played Sail and you had the opportunity to ink like 4 different cards: Pirate's Life, Popsicle, Grammatala, and Hiram, I believe. Can you walk us through? It was Hiram. Could you walk us through that turn and why you decided to ink the Popsicle and the Pirate's Life?
Yeah. So this was the most important turn of the game because I only have one copy of Pirate's Life, and it's one of the ways that I have to get some lore back, right, and fight some of the goats and Go-Go's abilities. But I was afraid that if I would just play Hiram on that turn, it would mean that I would have a really bad turn on the subsequent turn because I have to deal with this small Clarabelle to play around the big one, because then I give him 4 cards, and that can be a game-losing play right away. And I also wanted to have the shark in play as soon as possible, and so I wanted to be as effective as possible doing that. And if I don't ink the Pirate's Life and he plays something like a Banzai plus an Ursula, taking out my my Pirate's Life, suddenly I might not have the ink to play the shark next turn, which delays me a lot. I figured his start wasn't all that quick, so I didn't need the Pirate's Life, and I could just deploy the Maui. He also shown on the 2 other games that he was respecting the recurrency of the sharks pretty well, right? Not questing in front of him, so I thought I might not get value out of the Pirate's Life more than once anyway. So I elected to, and the Popsicle was never really a consideration to be anything other than ink, because the first Popsicle is the most important one, mostly, and then the others can be inked. Of course, that against small Clarabelles, that could also be like a consideration, but it was a lesser consideration because it's not that great of a play for him either, to just like play Clarabelle onto Popsicle at that point. Yeah, so I made the more ink efficient, tempo positive play basically, and ink the least powerful cards in the long run, because I knew I needed the Siren. But even though he drew like 4 cards, he was not enough to get me to my one of my 5 board wipes in time, unfortunately. Like because the goal here is to deploy the shark, and then they need to either quest into it, and then I get value, or they get got by Sisu, right? So that's, but unfortunately in game 1 I didn't find it, and in game 3 I found it too late, right? So it was always just yeah, like I had the whole thing set up, but not the final piece of the puzzle. The trap was not completed, basically. The trap was installed, but then yeah, didn't find the right piece.
Well, Sailor, I got a few questions for you as well. I noticed there was a time, and it happened twice. You got your how far I'll go ripped by the Ursula. Was there any contemplation? Did you have any thoughts on using that harem to sing the how far I'll go in preparation for an Ursula play, or were you just all in on getting 2 more cards and sacrifice your harem to the crabs that next turn?
Yeah, exactly, right. So that's one of the thing about open death list, and that's kind of the reason why I went in the tank a little bit more than I usually do here, because you try to play around. So on that turn, where I was on 11 ink and I cracked a pop instead of singing, basically I needed to play around either the small Clarabelle breaking my last item, a possible go-go, right? Like I almost didn't quest or sing any song, right? And waited for another turn for it to sing the how far I'll go or whatever, and try to finally be prepared. But I figured it would slow him down if he could take out my, and I couldn't afford to just like play around that go the whole game. So because I needed to find cards, right? So you either play around this Ursula, play around the go or play around the Clarabelle, and at some points you just need to make a decision on what to play around, and it's like a 30% chance almost, something like that. So
yeah, and I think he probably made the right choice and just end up. I think he actually got the rabbit and he drew the Ursula for turn anyway. So for the rabbit, but I think that was really good. But last question I have for you: historically, the Ruby Sapphire deck has struggled against the Emerald Amethyst deck, and it's probably going to get a little bit worse with the new buffs that they got with Go and Genie and all the other things that they're doing. What do you think about this metagame in Ruby Sapphire? Is it time to make some changes? How are you going to combat this strategy to make it a little bit more valuable in a 3-game format and also a 2-game format, with the LCQs being 3-game and the DLC, or excuse me, the national tournament being a 2-game format?
I actually think it's better than it was before.
Oh, really?
Some of the more aggressive versions were very hard to fight. In order to be able to sustain a steel meta, the green purple needs to adapt to a more like tempo, maybe more mid-range approach, and so it gives us a little bit more chance. And I think one of the avenues that they found was Genies, right? And I think we have one of the better decks against Genie, so it's never going to be easy matchup, but I do think.
Yeah, but if you saw the
close.
match, if you see the match, that's not. It was not. It was. I didn't dominate him or something.
Right? In forts, and a lot of important decisions. And I don't know. If I can split 1-1 against Artabax, I feel like I can do that against other ones, and sometimes even 2 some of them if the draw lined up well.
Yeah,
100%. 100%. I actually think I mentioned that in the stream too. I'm like, if that's not Artabax playing that green purple deck, I think you probably can win. He was making some great heads up plays and kind of present a lot of different problems for you. But I thought the match was incredible. Thank you guys so much for coming in and presenting that to us. And I think it's been a great service to the entire community, as people can probably watch that and definitely learn something.
Yeah, one last thing: crack your popsicle, get your value instead of just getting 1 lore. I always tell my students to do that in grindy games, right? But I got a little bit too confident. Like the game was going, first game I'm talking about, was going so much into my favor that I was only trying to focus on, okay, do I need to play around 2 go-go's? And eventually I decided not to. because he had 2 cards in hand and he needed an ink, right? So he needed to have specifically ink plus 2 go-go, which is pretty rare. And then if he doesn't have it, I mostly just win on the next turn. And yeah, I thought a little bit too much about the go-go, and then I just thought, okay, if he doesn't have go-go, I win, but forgot that if he just deals with the Tamatoa and I draw a blank, and he just draws exactly the right set of cards to go to 20, I might just lose, right? And so I should have cracked the pop, healed the shark, quest, and play the pop again to draw a card. It would have led me to play Hiram on the following turn instead of doing nothing, and that would have found me my big Sisu to win the game.
But
So
it's all
I really fumbled the game 1, even though it was not like obviously he had to have the perfect hand to beat that. I still should have made the more correct value play instead of just going all in on getting that +1 lore for no reason, because I was going to 15, and if I crack the pop, I'm going to 14, and I still win if he doesn't deal with the Tamatoa. So like it was a very bad play, and a lot of regrets.
But sometimes it's if something that's for the viewers, maybe if something's not working out, sometimes maybe that was wrong, but then it doesn't mean it was wrong. For example, in the I think it was the 3rd game where I had to ink. That was typical for me. I hear the people say go. What do I do with my go-go's? I had to ink either go-go or goat, and he had a ready Hiram with no item in play. So I thought, okay, he will never exert his Hiram next turn. And then I inked the go-go to keep my goat, because goat always does 2 lore, And if and then you played the popsicle, and then that was the turn where you thought so long about questing with the Hiram, and then you decided to Hiram, and I thought, oh, it's my goat. But
I decided long time, like, because that if you have you have the Elsa, that's one of the thing, right? If he has the Elsa tap my Hiram and I don't get any value, I might just lose on the spot. So that's what I was saying. Like I was trying to think of the multiple lines, and he had ink one of the go play this goat. I was like, okay, well.
But what I wanted to say is, just because it didn't work out for me doesn't necessarily mean it was wrong from my spot. So
I think goat is better in the match.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
because at that point, like, I was obviously looking for big Sisu, right? So you're playing around it pretty well, and I think the go line.
I didn't think it would. Yeah, I didn't think it will. I will get the opportunity. So, yeah. But it was a great match.
You guys are clearly on another level, dude. I want you both to understand that. Just you guys are clearly, because you're way over my head right now. I've already forgotten what happened. You guys are like on this turn. It's just a lot of good memory. You guys are clearly extremely talented. If you play this game 50 times, it could definitely be a 50-50 situation. But man, oh man, it was so good to see. And I was, I like being up here front row, and I definitely learned a lot from just watching you two play at the highest possible level right now in Lorcana, with 1 year being in. Yo, Key, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great match, and I agree with everything you said. Even with that big hat on, it was going right over both of our heads. And it was just funny, like, we're sitting here, and I'm not a Ruby Sapphire player at all, so I'm like, well, maybe s4iler will do this, and just does, like, some play I've never seen before. I'm like, oh, okay, that's... It's just a great learning experience for us as casters, and I'm sure everyone at home. So thank you so much for you guys letting us watch these great Lorcana Cross-Continental Challenge matches. Is there anything?
I'll get my revenge in top match, Julian.
Okay, let's go. I'm writing that down. I'm all Canadian out right now. If you didn't know, I got my hood. I got my hat on. I got my sweater on, man.
Yeah,
and
you
know what?
Pull up the stream real quick and look if you can. It's a great getup.
I'm excited. Yeah, it will be cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
absolutely.
Do you guys have any shout outs or any last things you'd like to say, Artabax, s4iler?
No, thank you for casting. Thank you for the judges. Thank you, Julian, for being an extremely great opponent.
Yeah, you too. It was a pleasure, and thanks again to Pavel for organizing this. I think we're all thankful to be able to play here. It's just great to play against all these great players and people, and yeah, and of course for you casters too. It's so cool that that you do that all for us.
Of course,
Not
of
for
course.
us, but yeah, for the community.
Yeah, it's definitely our
Absolutely.
privilege. Thank you guys so much. Before we get out of here, I did want to bring in Wonderland, who had a really important announcement to make to the community.
Well, important, yeah, I guess. Just
Let me bring it up on the screen real quick for you.
yeah, just to highlight a charity for AJ and his family after some unfortunate events, and I'm just trying to get more eyes looking at it. So I'm giving away. Well, giving away is hard. If people donate enough, I'll trade them in something. So if they donated 150, I'll send them a Rapunzel, and I think I have a few other price things up to the Mickey, whereas if someone donates 10K, and then I'll sell them my Mickey for 10K. So I mean, it's 20K total, obviously, but half of it would go to their family to help take care of this.
Yep.
We'll link it in the chat as well. Please take a look at it and help if you can.
Yeah, I will go ahead and put that GoFundMe into the chat if anyone is interested. Thank you, Wonderland, for putting that up and raising awareness of this. It was a family member of a big presence within the Lorcana community. So if you guys have the means, definitely check that out, and we appreciate you bringing that up.
Absolutely, especially this time of year. I know things are tight, but if you have anything you can do to help, we try to help each other. Community takes care of one another. So if you can help, please help. And appreciate Wonderland for everything you do for the community as well, and going out and trying to make the world a better place. We do appreciate you for that. Absolutely.
Yeah, and with that being said, that is it for this matchup of the Lorcana Cross Continental Challenge. Thank you again to Artabax and s4iler for playing this amazing matchup. Thank you to Pavel for bringing all of us together. Thank you to Phil, our great judge, who's been here since round number 1. All of his information will be linked down below in the VOD, as will Artabax and s4ilers, as well as the information for this GoFundMe if you are watching the VOD. Thank you to JDZQuest for joining me on my channel. You are amazing. The chat absolutely loves you, dude. They can't get enough. You are amazing. And do you have any final words before we sign off here?
Of course, Garrick. First, I have to say thank you for letting me come in here and share the space with you. It was beautiful. We had such a good time. I had a good time. I had a blast. You're very smart. I learned stuff from you as well, and I really appreciate the opportunity that I've been given to be here. I'm virtually a no name in the Lorcana community. I really want to be a part of this community. I'm really trying to give as much as I can to become a part of Lorcana. I've fallen in love with this game. So if you're interested in seeing more of me and what I'm trying to do in Lorcana, I do have a Twitch. I will have a YouTube. But right now, I'm JDZQuest on Twitch. I stream almost every day. I probably won't be able to stream today, but I'll definitely be streaming tomorrow. So come on through. The vibes are pretty chill. Watch me play poorly and get smacked around, but I'm learning and having a growing time in the process. So thank you so much for allowing me to share some of your space here. It's been a great pleasure and blast, and hopefully I can do a lot more of this commentary for the rest of the series.
Yeah, man, of course. And hopefully we can link up in the future. And again, just thanks everybody that was in the chat, watching live. If you're watching on the VOD, this is a great community. We love you all. And we will see you in the next round. The top cut.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Peace.